What's up, everybody? I'm going to apologize in advance for the audio quality, but I'm going to be moving around, so I'm going to be using my wireless headset. This is going to be a new kind of like impromptu stream that we're going to do when we're hanging out working on stuff. Tonight, I'm going to be working on my CR10S Pro here. We're going to be converting it over to a 32-bit board, so we put our EasyBoard V2 in there. And tonight, I actually have Krista hanging out. She's in her office downstairs, and I've actually got a special guest tonight for our first Midnight Maker Lounge stream. I've got Scott from Marlin. So let's add everybody in. Hello.
Oh, hi everyone.
How's it
How's
going?
it going? Not bad. Yourself?
Not too bad. We've been sitting here playing around with stuff for what, about an hour now?
Yep. That. How do you like that thumbnail, folks?
I think
Looking
that would
pretty
be
good.
a hand. I think that would be more of a hand nail or a palm nail, since it's your palm. So,
That's true.
But yeah,
It's
your
true.
audio is okay. We can hear you, but it's kind of like tinny.
Quiet.
I wonder if it's coming
Tinny.
through yeah, it's kind of like
Oh, you
tinny.
know what it is? It's because it probably saw that I had these and it decided that was my preferred microphone, which it isn't. Let's pick
Yeah,
a
you
different one.
can actually you should be able to change it if you hit settings at the bottom there.
You ready? Here's my MacBook Pro built-in microphone for comparison.
Hello, I'm
Holy
Marcus Brownlee.
Holy crap! How does my headset sound? I'm actually running this through NVIDIA Broadcast right now to kind of clean it up. So.
Better?
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot better. So the cool thing is we're actually streaming with StreamYard, which is why we're actually able to pull everybody in here. We are using their paid plan, so we get fancy stuff like 1080p, and I got extra camera inputs and stuff here. So basically, I could have stuff up while I'm working. So I'm going to be working on this. I know, Scott, you're working on code, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know yet? Oh, I just noticed. I just noticed you have an Ender 5. You have an Ender 5 S1 sitting back there. I should send you. I should send you our little LCD kit on there so you can get rid of the touchscreen.
Oh yes, I hate that touchscreen. It's really
it is
badly
like
done.
Oh, it's like, so here's the thing. I thought people were like being like exaggerating with how bad it was, but then I use it and I was like, okay, this is like even worse than any of the other ones. Oh, Miko just became a member
I
on
would have been
YouTube.
happy
Oh yeah,
to
we
help
are.
Crowdy
for
make a nice
becoming a member.
interface if they had called me.
We don't have any
Crowdy.
We don't have
it.
it. Oh my God, Krista.
Oh my God, indeed.
He gave the dog a bath and he sheds every time after we give bath. So he knows I'm straight. Here's the thing. We've been hanging out and he did not come up to me at all. As soon as he hears me streaming, like he somehow knows. Look at him.
Oh,
look at him. He just wants
give me treats. He knows you'll have to give him treats to make him go away, right?
Actually I lied. Their bag of chicken jerky is up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I figured. So I've been procrastinating on getting this done. So my thing was I wanted to play, like, I'm overhauling all of our printers with input shaping, and the 2560 just isn't cutting it, because so I found you could run input shaping on these, but you can't have anything else. You can't have bed leveling on. You can't have any of the fancier stuff on because of the memory constraint.
Well, there is a trick, which is if you set there's some. You can tweak the settings until you get the buffer down to be small enough.
Right.
It limits your speeds or something.
Yes. Which then.
So yeah, it's a bit tricky.
Which then kind of counteracts the whole input shaping point.
Yep. So it does work really. I mean, if you don't need the other fancy bells and whistles, then you can definitely fit it out.
Oh yeah, Waffle. I'm gonna actually, if anybody wants to join in, if you guys want to come hang with us, this stream is kind of like an open invite. So the plan is, we haven't done the Ask Tims. We haven't actually streamed all this month. We did the Ask Tims for almost 3 years straight. It was actually, if we would have ended it this month, it would have been exactly 3 years. But I ended it in the end of August, because we're gonna do more of a multi-person thing, where we're gonna have myself and Krista and Toron. So we can hang out. And the cool thing with StreamYard is I can pull up comments and stuff like really seamlessly like this. I think, Krista, you can also do that as well on your end, can't you? If you look in the comments, there you go. And we're also multi-streaming. So this is going out right now to YouTube, it's going out to Facebook, and it's going out to our Twitch channel. So anybody watching here on Twitch, everybody's chats will come through on our end here. So you can see here, it shows there's like a little icon there, what platform they're on. So you can see the little YouTube icon there.
There's 14 people watching right now. So that's pretty great.
Brilliant. Hello. Welcome, everyone.
AutoStar Super Chats. Oh, that's cool. Oh. It will like star chat. So like Chris, this is actually kind of cool. So if we're doing a Q&A, we can star the questions, and then in the comments here, we can pull the questions back up instead of having to use the bot. Now, I am going to be overhauling our bot. Addictive Reaction, he's watching here on Twitch. Yeah, we were hanging out on the Loyal Moses channel yesterday. We gave away some filament. Chris, what do you want to do today? What do you want to give away?
Well, I mean, our filament's been the most popular thing, so why don't we give out like a roll or two? So
you want to give out a roll filament? I was thinking about being more generous and giving away also. We can give away roll filament. I was also thinking about giving away one of our pie kits. Those are $110.
What about our Easy ABL?
I mean, we could do that. I mean, we should. God, I don't want to blow our load on this one stream. I don't know if Tor's up. I'm gonna send people invites that I think might be awake. Tor's 2 hours behind us, so
it's about 10 o'clock there. He should be up. It's US only.
No, if we ship to you, I'll pay. I'm shipping a roll of filament to Australia. So,
are we?
Mr. Waffle, if you want to hang out, I know Doug's probably working on his printers right now, and or fulfilling Etsy orders, maybe making some more basic bitch designs to put on his Etsy shop. Backwoods Singer says pocket. What's up, Emerson? I know who that is. Scott, you didn't even notice my shirt.
Just the tip.
That's a nozzle. I made it. See, it's even got our logo on the sleeve.
That's great.
He is working on a new Etsy listing. Oh, I just realized, it's like quiet. I was like, I forgot to hit play on the ambiance background music.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I'm kind of glad you kept the nozzle pointing downward. That's a good choice.
I can't remember who. It was one of the other companies that I work with, and they saw that, and he's like, I need one of those shirts. I was like, you like it that much? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'll send you one of the shirts. It's all good.
Nice.
So
yeah, we've got to come up with all the good 3D printing ideas right now. All the good things.
Best ideas come late at night.
I mean, that's when I do a lot of my work. Is late at night. I don't think Jerry's gonna be awake because he's old.
No.
But I'm gonna see if he. I'm just gonna send it to him. He always sends me a StreamYard link, and I'm usually busy doing stuff in real life.
Yeah. But you never know. Jerry.
I'm just gonna send him.
He's an artsy type. He could be up all kinds of crazy hours.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, he does like painting and stuff. I think we can not highlight that comment. We don't need a.
I prefer just lots of roughage in my diet. That's okay. Occasional enema.
Well, I'm gonna put. Let's see here. I want Tim and Scott's shirts. Scott, you sell your shirts, don't you? Where can people get them? I feel like I asked you this a lot.
Yeah, you can get them on. Yeah, you may have the link there somewhere. It's the. I can pull it up if anyone needs it. Hold on.
Yeah, if you want to post it in private chat, we have a private chat here. But you might also be able to post stuff here. So y'all was talking. Oh, Doug's ears are perking up because he hears input shaping, and he's been doing the same thing I have, which has been getting these old printers up to date. So I've kind of cheated here. I've got some of the stuff done already. And I lucked out here because this board, the stock board, and my lens has got a little bit of, it needs to be cleaned a little bit. Hang on. So this board, for some reason, the screw holes didn't line up. However, what did line up was the micro USB port and the SD slot both line up with the other Creality boards, which is what the form factor ours uses. And if you look here, I've just made an adapter plate, which I'm going to post this on our site, that screws to 3 of the 4 original ones. You can see here, look how close that one was by the SD slot.
Oh man.
to line it up there. So, but it doesn't matter. So the SD slot kind of catches on the enclosure. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws holding it in. I already have the LCD kit for this print that we came out with a number of years ago, which uses a rep wrap display. So you can see that there. And then I've got the adapter here that goes from the single to. You're familiar with these, Scott? We had discussions about these adapters.
Yeah, we're gonna be discussing that more a bit as we go forward with our displays everywhere upgrade.
Yeah.
Marlin.
Yeah, so this has some modifications. This, if you guys watched our channel, you'll probably recognize this printer's bottom side from one of the videos, because this is the one that I replaced the MOSFET on with one of ours, because the stock one literally fell apart. Like, I'm not even joking, it literally fell apart. And that's why this printer was down for so long. But I was like, going over it, I was like, man, if I just put a 32-bit board here, this is actually going to be a pretty nice machine to keep in the print farm. So I'm just going to jump into it, and we're all just going to kind of bullshit while we're working here. Krista, go ahead. Oh, yeah, Scott, go ahead and post a link to your shirt in there.
Yep.
Krista, can you post? Oh, it's in there? Okay, I got it here. Firmware,
In the
copy
PC.
clean link. Krista, can you post one? Do it through StreamYard, because you see on StreamYard in the comments section, because you are a admin on there, do you see the all in the lower
Hold
right-hand
on.
corner?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll send it out. So it's going to send out those links. You're going to see those links. So these links went out to all the platforms. Oh, Deckard's in here. We got Rain. Give people some shots. Stephen Poole. Oh, look it! Jerry's here.
Hey, there he is.
Jerry used to work for us. There we go.
There's
Now
hey,
he's
Jerry.
now
We
he's
always
flying.
want
Now
Jerry.
he's flying unmanned aircraft at school.
Oh, geez.
I know, they trust anybody with those things, apparently. I can't find. I had my really nice Menard screwdriver here, and I don't know what happened to it. And
Stole it.
I don't know what happened to it, but my screwdriver set's over here, but all my bits are not in it. We're gonna make do. I don't know where all my bits are, so I'm missing. Hang on, I got my 2.0. I'm just. Oh wait, never mind. They're all here. One of them just fell out. Okay, false alarm. I need some like ad banners. We can do too. If you go, Chris, if you look on the right side in StreamYard, you'll see banners. We can do banners. Wow, look at it.
Wow.
Wow. That's why I decided to start doing StreamYard. Save big money. hang on. You ready?
Oh, God.
Oh, look at that. Gonna save big money at Menards.
I found that.
Hang on. I think I deleted. I had a save big money at Menards video clip. I should probably put that back in, because Menards comes up on this stream way more than I thought. Now, Scott, do you know what Menards is? I know you're
Not sponsored by Menards, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen them around. They've got a funky
Should
corporate logo or whatever.
yeah.
But
Hang
yeah,
on. I gotta
don't think
have.
I don't think I've ever been to a Menards though.
It's like a Midwest thing, because you're in Texas right now. Where else have you been at?
Yeah. Well, I've traveled the world, so.
But not to
or
the
at least all over
Midwest
this
enough.
country mostly. So I've been to the Piggly Wiggly. I've been to the.
Been to a Piggly Wiggly.
I've been
Piggly
to the Circle K.
We have Circle K's up
was-
here.
I've been to Christie's Market, 7-Eleven.
I don't know what that is. 7-Eleven. We got 7-Elevens.
We
I don't
got
know if they
two
have
in the
Christie's
area.
now. I think Christie's is gone now. It's been replaced. I think,
It's been replaced.
I've been to Walgreens. I've been to CVS, man.
And
So,
Jagger says Canadian Tires, no Menards. That's for sure.
Huh. Someone
All
wants to
right,
know if I print
Doug.
anything on the regular? Well, I sometimes print useful things.
I'm gonna
I
move
need
this
them.
control box though.
And then sometimes
Alright.
I'll print something fun like this, just to test. I did this on
Hang
the.
on, Krista. You can
Anchor
drag him
Make-
in if he's showing off stuff.
There it
Drag
is.
him in.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
to-
okay.
to-
Yeah, so I printed this one for fun to test the Anchor Make M5. And
what do you think
know,
of that? Because I've seen it. I'm like, I don't know. It's like it's a
It's
bed
a,
flinger.
a
It's an
very
expensive bed
well-made-
flinger.
It's a very well-made printer that can go very fast, but it's not. It's running Marlin, so and it doesn't have input shaping on it in the version that they include. So it's just doing it brute force, but it is a very quiet and capable machine, and it does produce clean prints even without the input shaping. I mean, I think the thing with we want to reach those super high speeds, like that input shaping promises, you actually need a better extruder, something that can melt the filament quickly and in a short.
Yeah, theirs
space.
did not seem very quick, or strong, I should say.
So that tends to be your bottleneck is the extruder. So I did actually try to print faster with it. Like I did my first print with it was I should say this part here, the bottom. Did the bottom part first, and then I did the top part. And actually, running faster produced cleaner results on the top layer because there was less.
That's
sagging.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know they had some issues with the. So are they running Marlin? I'm assuming they're running Marlin. Okay.
They are, and I actually have a copy of the source, so I've been working on adapting, bringing it up to 2.1, so that I can test input shaping on it, and I can also, see if I can push those speeds a bit higher and do any other things with it. Overall, the one issue I had with the AnkerMake M5 was that I could just never get it to pair with Bluetooth, and therefore I could never get it signed up on the cloud.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Well, but you can actually use it locally, though, right?
Yep. No problem. Printing off of the, I should say, the flash drive, but I have to use a USB-C to USB-A adapter to do that because it has a USB-C plug on it for your. It's a very strange choice. But,
wait, it has a USB-C plug for the flash drive connection?
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, it's very.
Because most people that have flash drives are not USB-C flash drives.
And it's on the display unit, so So what I needed to do was download the source. I examined it, studied it, and I have the basic idea of how they implemented the screen and stuff. So the main thing I was looking for was like, why is this Bluetooth pairing failing? And I couldn't quite figure that out at the time in my time interval. So I'll probably go back and figure that out later. But my hope is that AnkerMake and all these other companies will, just pick up a newer version of Marlin and redo it and get that stuff on there, guys, because it's going to make it much better. It's going to make the printer have a higher value, and it'll be a little bit quieter, even though it's pretty quiet already.
Can you tell this printer's been sitting for a little bit with all the dust on it?
Because of the dust, it's not just on it, but caked on it.
Yeah. It's been sitting for a bit. I was like, I just realized I need a filament sensor cable I'm getting rid of this breakout board. And the stock filament sensor on this broke already, so that's already been replaced.
Yeah.
But I was gonna adapt it at the ribbon cable end, but then I was talking to a couple people who have already done what I'm doing. They've switched out the board. And they said that they ended up going back and getting rid of it because the ribbon cable was a failure point. Now, this ribbon cable does work, so I honestly might just take the cable and the breakout boards and the stock board and throw it on our site for like $20 or $30 because I'm sure there's somebody that's going to want the factory parts. Because they're going to be of no use to me at this point. So once I take these off. Because this machine actually doesn't have a ton of time on it. It was in the print farm briefly, but then the MOSFET failed, and we didn't need it, so it just sat there collecting dust, which it's very good at doing. Is Wild Chaos? He's asking, what is a power supply? I'm assuming I'm going to answer for me. This one has a Meanwell in it. What does the AnkerMake have for a power supply? Do you know?
I haven't checked, but it's probably something of reasonably good quality, 12 volt LED power strip supply, as we typically use. That's what they're called. I don't know if they're meant for LED power strips per se, but we love our 12 volt supplies. So far all my 12 volt supplies have been pretty reliable. I've yet to have one die on me, but I don't scrutinize them to the level that you do. Or
you also don't print that much.
Really as much. Yeah, exactly.
You don't print as much. I I print quite a bit actually. So I'm probably gonna just splice in. So I like using this from stepper motor extensions. It's actually sold as like RGB cable, but you can pick up little spools of it on Amazon for pretty cheap. And I just splice that in. I am going to crimp on my own connectors here
Cool.
at the other end, but I am gonna use. I don't actually have the one ends I don't actually carry are like these smaller JST plugs that are on the motor side. It's like one of the few things I don't actually have. I don't even know what those connectors are called. And then again, I haven't even looked, so I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
we want to get this breakout board off here.
So
I'm
yeah,
actually
look at
just
Serena. I understand.
asking, What
Yeah.
do you think of the new Bamboo mini printer with the MMU?
Well, I'll answer that in a sec. Right after I mention to Look, It's Rain says AnchorMake doesn't use Meanwells, and it's some Chinese brand for the main PSU. So that answers that. But yeah, I don't expect most printers to have a Meanwell power supply. I really don't. I think they're probably, that's probably it's probably overkill.
Their cost.
Yeah.
Well, I think so. I will give it this: the Creality knockoffs of the Meanwells have seemed to be of better quality than what they used to use, which is good. My big thing though is like when they were advertising printers that had Meanwells in them originally, and then they just kind of quietly changed it. Now they just market it as, oh, it's got a brand power supply in it, and it's their brand. It's not like a relabeled Meanwell, but basically none of the Creality printers are coming with Meanwells. Most of them are not. Solvol's actually been even using Creality's ones because there's that big. I'm pretty sure Solvol's a subsidiary of Creality. Like at this point, I'm pretty convinced of that.
Huh.
Like there's just too much overlap in all their stuff.
Interesting. Or maybe they're just in the same region. It's easier for them to get the same parts from the same suppliers.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's possible. So to your question of whether we're going to be messing with the Bamboo, actually I have a lot of thoughts on this Bamboo stuff lately.
I mean, go ahead. You can chat about it. I'm trying to figure out why this kit is so dirty.
Well, one thing that's, of course, yesterday about 20 videos dropped about the A1 Mini and the MMU. I don't know what they're calling it, MMU2 or the MMA unit, not to be confused with the Prusa MMU unit.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, the no bed slingers thing was a bit of hype to kind of hype up their printer at a time when they hadn't thought about bed slingers, maybe, or I don't know if that was their plan. But yeah, that no bed slingers thing, of course, I'm glad they did, but I think the reason for that is, I don't know, there's a little bit of a shot across the bow stuff going on between Bamboo and Prusa. And I think this is actually, they priced it at $459 with the multi-material add-on, which is exactly the price.
Can you run the MMU? Can you run the MMU
Prusa Mini without anything?
Can you run the MMU from Prusa on the Mini?
The MMU from Prusa on the Mini? Yes, I think you can.
Like I never looked into it. But
yeah, I assume you can, because it's basically you just have to have the feature turned on in their firmware, which is either I think it's Buddy firmware for that particular printer. It's called Buddy.
I forgot how much Prusa modified Marlin from stock because I had to do an update for a customer. I was doing I was fixing some stuff on his machine, and I was like, well, he's like, well, can you update the firmware? I was like, yeah, I can update the firmware. I'm like going through. I was like, man, I forgot how they like walk you through everything. It's like a 20-minute calibration process, and I'm just sitting here like I just want to get the printer going. Like
True.
Jesus.
That's true. They did. Excuse me. They did sacrifice some things there.
Yeah, and this was an MK3S, which was a 2560. So I was like, man, they crammed a lot of code into this. That's like not standard Marlin code.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
I know their stuff is heavily modified for their purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, of course, Marlin does have MMU support for either the MMU for Prusa, the MMU2, unit from Prusa. There's another one.
The
which is
Enraged
called,
Rat Carrot Feeder or something, ERCF. Have you
I
looked
can't
at
remember
that?
the name of it, but if I go here and I look up in the config, if I go for like MMU2, now we've got extendable MMU2, which is actually it's a compatible thing, I guess. So yeah, there's all MMU1, MMU2, MMU2S, the extensible or extendable MMU2, and the extendable, and they're made by it's called an EMU. So it's either it says here it's ECRF SMUF or similar with Prusa MMU2 compatible firmware. So what that refers to, I'm not exactly sure, but
Yeah, because there's like the Enraged, I think it's like called the Enraged Carrot Feeder or something like that, which was like an open source one.
And I've been meaning to add Chameleon 3D support as well.
Yeah, to like, so how would that work? Because he has that little switch. Would it basically just basically take, go off his like guidelines for setting it up and basically determine like the X? Because I think the X is what triggers it, like determine where to hit it.
Yeah, we integrated. It's basically the way the MMU2s work in Marlin is it's just you do a T command, T1, T2, or whatever, T0,
and it'll do a tool change,
and then it does whatever it has to do the tool change. Yeah, so so in the case of the MMU or the Chameleon rather, it would do the tool change by doing a move to the end of the axis and hitting the buttons that it needs to hit,
and then coming back
to that particular tool, and then it will do the purge and other stuff that it needs to do as well as part of that. Because it has to have all of that encoded in it. So in the same way that the MMU is kind of set up with a little purge routine and a little like ramming routine to make sure the end of the filament is nice. Yeah, it's got that.
Well, and some of that code would work on the Chameleon because you still need to have. Well, actually no, because don't they handle like the filament purging and changing on their end. With that.
Well, no,
it
would be the same way. Right now, like the way that the Chameleon stuff is implemented is through G code that is in a file, and it actually gets it gets thrown into your print as a bunch of explicit G code commands. Instead of the way I would do it is change it to just one T command and that's it. And then all the stuff
basically have the firmware do the G code commands and have that pre-programmed in there.
Yep, instead of having
just make it simpler.
The slicer that way. And so
it's less room for user error too.
Right. Now, the main thing is, my main thing, of course, lately has been, as a mover and shaker in this industry, is that I'm worried about all the filament waste that's coming from these MMU units being pushed around and everybody promoting multi-material printing. Because it's just, it's kind of...
You can share your screen, by the way, if you want to share anything.
Oh, cool. Well, I watched, I don't need to right now, but I did watch, I watched 5 or 6 videos of reviews of this machine yesterday. And every single one had a box of filament and a purge tower, up to the top of the printer. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous, people. So I'm looking to actually, yes, this is where I'm going next. Is I'm diving into hardware. I'm getting silicone mold kit, and I'm making myself a device that can turn filament that gets purged out of your nozzle directly into 1.7 millimeter, 1.75 millimeter filament that you can use, because I'm tired of all this waste.
I'm just curious, can you guys hear the heat gun in the background, or is my software canceling it out?
It's perfectly quiet.
It's amazing.
Yep, you're quiet.
Yep. It's silent. So yeah, the thing with the way I'm going to do this device, I'm not going to patent this stuff or anything like that, but I'm just going to get myself all the bits and pieces I need. And if you want to show my face on the screen, I can show you what my basic idea is here. Look.
Chris, drag him over. There you go.
There it is.
You got it.
Hey, there's my bad handwriting. But the basic idea is you mate your nozzle up to a piece of silicone that's the right consistency, and you push it up against the nozzle, and it's forced to squish all their filament out into this tube, which is very constrained, you see. But it's not super long, so it doesn't build up a lot of resistance. And so hopefully, if it's shaped and engineered just right, the nozzle will be squirting out all this wasted plastic, but it'll be coming out in a nice, orderly 1.75 millimeter filament that you can then use later, if you want. Yeah, as much as there are various waste plastic reprocessing, shredders, filament extruders, injection mold machines, etc., that all takes effort, and most people are lazy, and they just throw it in the trash.
You're not
and that's-
wrong.
Yep. And I want to make it a little easier. Just make a simple device that could be on the end of your axis that you can move the nozzle over to and just start purging, and hopefully it'll produce something better. And there'll be a little bit of a heater in there if need be. I might embed
Yeah, we were talking about that.
embed a resistor in there or something, and just throw 5 volts on it or something, and have it warm, keep it warm, and maybe it'll work. Maybe we'll see, because I mean, obviously, when you're making filament, in a factory, you got to have very careful controls and make sure the diameter is perfect and all this. But I just need something that produces something I can that can feed back into my Bowden tube and have it, do the beginning of my print and produce a bed for me or a brim for me or whatever. do that ugly first layer with with that crappy filament I don't care about, or whatever, and just reduce the amount of waste. And I feel that I could probably do this at a cost of you could probably produce a device that would cost about $5 or $10, and it would be screwed onto your axis, and then I just have to program the firmware to when you want to when it does the purge, it goes off to the end. Make sure to mate up nice and tight to get up against this rubber silicone thing, and start squirting. And then make sure it's shaped in such a way that, and make sure not to leave any strings lying around where it makes a big mess. Yeah, there was that one filament extruder CNC Kitchen made that had a sensor that judged the diameter. Yeah, and it's fairly straightforward to judge the diameter of a filament, because you just have if you have a long enough lever, then the reading you gets magnified more and more. Or is that how it works? If you do it just right, and you'll make sure you're measuring it. But yeah, we have all kinds of stuff in the firmware to deal with that. Of course, some of the cool stuff in the A1 Mini is it's got a noise canceling system that uses a microphone and a speaker to somehow
Is that what
cancel out
it's
the
doing?
sound of the motors, possibly.
So I was thinking about that. So they do have a lot of cool tech in that hot end, the whole thing where it can detect the pressure in there and kind of do flow rate adjustment on the fly.
Yeah,
How would
It's got a
something like that
vaporwave
work?
detector. Yeah, they said it's got some kind of wave-ish detector in there, but yeah, that's tricky. I mean, what does the pressure tell you? I mean, mainly what you want to know, I guess it tells you whether the filament is flowing, how much viscosity there might be, but how tuned it is. And maybe there's some thing on the printer where you have to select the type of material. It's because they would have to know the type of material to be able to judge whether the viscosity is right or not, unless it does a little initial calibration and to kind of keeps an eye on it and sort of watches it and says, well, this is when it's normal, this is what it should be, and if it goes out of this range, then it's not normal, and then it can adjust it and try to keep it in that range. So that's one way for it to deal with it, of course. But it makes sense. I mean, as filament is melting, it's not melting evenly. It melts on the outside and then towards the middle, and it produces this there's portions on the outer part that are melted already, as portions on the inner part aren't. And so as it's feeding in, it's you have to be careful how you feed it, because it'll start to do all kinds of weird things. But you can kind of imagine with the mix of viscosities inside of your melt chamber, that it can get pretty weird in there. So having a sensor
my question is is it measuring the actual pressure in there, or is it guessing? I'd be really curious to see how they're pulling that off.
Yeah, I don't remember,
because your nozzle's under a lot of pressure, and then you'd also have to be. Here's the other thing too: is it's under a lot of pressure, and you're also gonna have a sensor that's gonna be able to hold up to the heat, because if it's measuring the plastic, it's got to be doing it in an area where it's molten, unless they're just measuring the pressure on the unmelted filament. You know what I mean? Before it goes into the melt zone, and basically, if it's getting more resistance, it's obviously backing up. Or maybe they could be doing it if the motor, depending on their drivers and the software, they could even possibly be doing it, kind of like a stall guard kind of thing, but with how much torque the motor's having to apply.
Uh-huh.
I'm just speculating here. I have no idea how it works.
Right. Yeah. I remember they did mention what kind of device it was. It was like a wave sensor of some kind. I don't know.
The vaporwave sensor.
Yeah. No, not vaporwave. Piezoelectric printhead drive waveform optimization.
Weird.
The pressure wave in the tube. Well, I'm reading actually something called Science Direct. But actually, there is
on it.
And of course, if I look up the word piezo in relation to a printhead, it refers to inkjet printers, of course. So
yeah,
that's not it. It's not using
No.
a piezo. Although it could be, using a piezo for that because it can sense small changes in pressure. So probably it is something like that, a piece of quartz with a detector on it of some kind, looking for changes in voltage and potential.
All right.
Hard to say. I'll learn more about it as we go. But yeah, my concern with this filament waste is that we just need to find a way to mitigate it. And I'm in Austin, so I'm thinking of going and just like putting on my walking boots and going right over to.
Oh, because they're based out of Austin, aren't they?
With my new device in hand and being like, "Here's the new poop chute. Get rid of that poop chute. This is what we're gonna do now. We're gonna." And
they're gonna be.
It's gonna come out like in a nice curly 1.75 millimeter spool.
They're gonna put your picture on the wall and be like, "This crazy looking guy here, he shows up talking about poop chutes."
Yeah, he didn't even tell us who he was. He just came in, saved our business, and left.
Came in rambling about his poop chute. So you're telling me you're gonna go to a company's facilities and start rambling about making their poop chute better?
Exactly.
How could this possibly go wrong?
And also, like the whole idea of printing a purge tower too. I mean, look at how much filament is really being squirted in there. Like that all could be going towards, creating that nice, perfect.
Squirted it out of the nozzle, yeah.
Squeegeed, thing. So what I'm looking for is some advice on what's the shore hardness I should use for my silicone.
Anybody know anything about silicone in here? I feel like Look It's Rain would just for some reason know about silicone for some reason.
Yeah. And then
it's
in terms
random
of
stuff.
Yeah, and then in terms of the purging of the stuff into the silicone chamber, which is I'm thinking of using maybe Delrin or something like that to have or maybe even PTFE as a tube.
What's Delrin's temp range? I have no idea what Delrin's temp range was.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and highlight Doug's comment there, Krista.
Yeah. Yeah, the waste is killer.
No, I was talking about the one right above that one.
Oh, there you go. It would be. Yes, it would be wonderful. So this is what I'm thinking is just a very simple, cost 10 cents to make thing that will stop all this waste. And also, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm surprised and shocked that in a way, I mean, if my idea is stupid and someone's already tried it, and that's why no one else has bothered to make this thing I'm thinking of, and it just won't work, then please, someone go ahead and let me know. But I think that I could probably get away with this thing. It just needs to figure out the right hardness and of the material, and then also just make sure it's the right shape because POM you say. And
POM's a pretty temp resilient material.
Yeah, and but then then it's just whatever the outlet is. But I'm gonna definitely be using silicone for the initial construction and molding and testing, and figuring out the shape of the inner chamber that it squirts the filament into, so that I can make sure that it definitely gets a decently close to 1.75 millimeter diameter. But I guess anything between 1.75 and 1.8 is pretty much acceptable. I think it's actually 1.78. I think is something like the official width that it's supposed to be, not 1.75, but I could be wrong.
I mean, I've printed, as long as it's close, it'll probably be okay. I mean, hell, I've printed with weed whacker line before.
Right. Like 3mm filament is too, yeah, but you don't want to inhale the fumes from that.
Oh, it smells great though. I felt great when I was printing it.
Oh my God.
Ew.
That's poison. Don't do it. That's butadiene or something, isn't it? I don't know what that is.
I don't know. It was, I will say though, the prints I got when I was messing around with weed whacker line, this was years ago, they were strong as shit. Like,
yeah.
They were strong as shit, but it did smell funky when it was
Oh
printing.
yeah.
And I'm printing off labels for all my stuff, so I know because I only have red and white red and black 2-conductor cable. So once it gets back to the control box, down below, I want to make sure I know what I'm hooking up to where. So basically,
Right.
anybody that's just following, wondering what I'm doing, I'm extending all these wires that came to the breakout board originally with just regular wire. Because we're getting rid of the breakout board. What do you think about breakout boards, Scott? Like what this has? Are you a fan of them, or you're not? Or are you indifferent?
Oh gosh. Well, whether I'm a fan or not, I gotta deal with them. But yeah, actually, I just recently got a hold of the Flymaker. I guess we'd call it stack. The Flymaker stack, which is like all that stuff that supports CAN bus over
Okay.
SPI. So yeah, so that's going to be I'm going to be working on that CAN bus SPI stuff, and then also TMC 2240 stuff this week.
What is a 2240? Is that one of their newer ones that came out?
Yep, it's yet another stepper driver from Trinamic.
I
But it's
think
good.
when someone asked me about, and I looked at the spec, there was some newer one that someone asked me about. I looked at the spec sheet. I was like, it looks basically like a 2209 for the most part, based on the spec
Yeah.
sheet, anyways.
So yeah, if it's Rain knows, I'll just call you Look, if I may. So if Look knows about these materials, yeah, anything about these silicone materials, yeah, let me know. I mean, we're talking about an interesting dynamic going on because I'm going to be pushing a hot material nozzle up against some silicone, which will be relatively stiff, enough to basically make sure that the filament doesn't squirt back out this way.
Right.
And maybe I'll use some kind of other, something to make it tighter, like put a little rubber band around it or something, and just make sure that it's, when it mates up with that, there's definitely no chance that it's going to go backwards instead of forward, which is why I want to make sure I have like whatever it's squirting into, it has to be hard enough to force it into the shape and maintain the roundness that I need, but also it has to be slippery enough that the filament can just go down the tube as it goes, and then also short enough. I have to also keep it short and curved a little bit so that it doesn't just fall out, but also curved so that it makes a nice, curls up as it comes out.
Yeah, so you can make like those little coils.
Yep, it'll make a nice coil. And
I mean, Scott, if you want, I can send you all my filament scraps.
Yeah, send me all your. No, I don't need filament scraps. I'm going to be using new filament for my testing. I'm going to just be extruding into my little thingy and seeing how it comes out of the whole thing. And if
You're
it comes
going
out
to be pushing. What I'm hearing is you're pushing a lot of hot
Control.
plastic into your poop chute.
Basically, yes. This is going to be a sphincter for your poop chute. Every poop chute needs a sphincter, and maybe I'll call it the 3D sphincter. But if anyone has a better name, we could call it the ABS hole, the abs hole, or something. I don't know what to call it.
I think I saw that that A1 is not capable of.
Oh wait, the
I
PLA
think it's PLA and PETG only, because I think the max bed temp on that is only 80 C from what I saw. I think that's what the printer I was looking at. So no ABS for you. Although that printer too would probably be like it's not really designed to be enclosed, right? There's also a lot of electronics in there, so I don't think they would probably be like being locked up in a hot enclosure. I feel like they probably would not take too kindly to that.
This is true. Although, what's hot really on the Kelvin scale?
So I mean, like
So-
I like 45, 50 C. I mean, so like not super hot. I mean, like just going off of like what I know our ABS chambers run at, they're at about 50 C is typically what they hover around.
Mm-hmm. So what's next for
So-
Marlin? One of the things I can tell you is next for Marlin is kind of it's sort of a change in approach a little bit. It's like a lot of our effort has been on integrating things into the main fork and supporting them. Things that have been
There's
made that have been done
Freddy
in
Sphincter is perfect.
that have been done in like if you look at forks of Marlin, like they'll grab some version of Marlin, whatever it is, 208, let's say. They'll make a bunch of mods to the configs to make sure it all fits their printer. Then they'll start modifying the code to get the behaviors they want, and that's where things get tricky because now it's harder for them to upgrade to the next version of Marlin.
Yep.
And then they'll integrate some screen that we don't have support for yet, and then all this other stuff. And so, in order for us to get support for all the stuff that they've just added, one of our minions has to go out and find their stuff first, and then
If they
bring
even
it
share
over,
it.
and then carefully go through it point by point and make sure it's integrated into the Marlin in the right way. The quote unquote right way, which is constantly changing. And so my approach is going to be for the coming future, in perpetuity, will be to work on making it easier for third parties to do what they need to do,
And stay up to date.
and not worry so much about getting their work into the main fork and supporting lots and lots of printers in the main fork. So I'm going to be
Kind of like
doing,
making it more modular almost.
Well, we have things like the EXT UI, the extensible UI,
Mhm.
which is an API that you use when you want to have
For the
a
touch screens and
a-
stuff.
often for a touch screen, yeah, but it can also be used for other types of screens that aren't necessarily
Like the color
ones-
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like color ones and stuff. But basically, it's any place where you would if you look throughout Marlin code, you'll see blocks that are if you have an extensible UI, then call this callback for extensible UI because this thing happened. And so it's basically event driven. So anytime there's an event in Marlin, it kind of sends a little message and says, hey, you might want to update your screen. So go ahead and do that. So, but that hasn't been implemented for all the screens that could be using it. So there's a lot of custom code for certain screens scattered around. So I'm going to be extending extensible UI, which is what it's for, and fixing that up and adding more of the things that apparently screens want and need, and then just continuing to work on making extensible UI bigger and better, so that and pushing things in the direction of using that more. Rather than a lot of custom code. Although if there is custom code, that's fine, as long as it's as long as it goes through the extensible UI, it'll always work from version to version of Marlin. So that's the general idea, is to make it so that this stuff can be supportable, and we don't have to actually touch it as we upgrade from version to version. It'll be nice.
Here you go, Scott.
And that's the thing, yeah. The third-party vendors almost never send stuff back to Marlin, except for Bigtree Tech has been one of the main exceptions. They've been very active. A couple of others have as well. We used to have a regular liaison with Lulzbot or LF Objects back a couple of years ago, before they had to do restructuring, and but we don't have that much anymore. But they seem to be doing fine.
They sold off that company to, it's a completely different ownership now.
Yeah,
It's Fame 3D owns them.
yeah. I was a bit worried
So-
that they would go into Bain Holdings or so, would buy them or something, and they'd go into restructuring, and that would be the end of them. but because I don't know, I mean, they're a bit pricey and stuff, but they're super solid and reliable machines. Some people just swear by them. I mean, I watch like James Bruton's X Robots channel, and he's using those all the time, printing like piles of parts for his projects, and they just keep going and going. So
Yeah, I haven't used a Lulzbot. I've done firmware on them. I've had customers that I've worked with that use Lulzbots. So,
Yeah,
but they kind of just like, good.
I say I came close to having a donated Mini a few years ago, but I wasn't around and I missed it. Oh well.
Damn. Way to go. Way to go,
That
Scott.
could have changed history. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't. I saw a prototype. I know they're working on a Core XY because I feel like that's where most of the market's going now.
Yeah.
Like at least for the higher end segment. But I mean, people are getting good speeds out of Bedflinker still, which it's pretty cool to see, right? I mean, also the Bedflinkers are always going to be cheaper to produce. Right? Like,
oh yeah,
there's a lot more complex. There's a lot more complexity to the Core XY structure, even though it is a better structure, but it's more complex, maintenance wise, repairability. It's not as easy as the other ones.
Actually, you know what printer I really want to get is the little one that fits inside a filament box and is completely like foldable and like.
Oh, the one that's like upside down. Yeah.
Yep. It has,
I can't remember what that one's called. LDO, I think, makes kits for it.
Yeah, I'm actually the one thing I want to do with it is actually get rid of that Z, and convert it to use a scissor lift instead for the Z axis. That way, it can always be flat.
Positron, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, it would use a scissor lift for the Z to lift the bed instead of using a threaded rod, and so. It might still use a threaded rod, but it would be driving a scissor lift instead of driving directly driving the bed up and down. Yeah. The thing about a scissor lift is that it's a bit slow, but it's the Z-axis, and we don't really care. So.
Don't tell that to the Voron guys. They want their Z-axis to move at 500 millimeters a second.
Yeah, my thought actually was that it would actually reduce the number of parts a little bit and make it more 3D printable to have to get rid of that Z extrusion that it has, that aluminum extrusion that the Z-axis rides on could be removed. The
question is, will that be rigid enough without compromising print quality?
Oh yeah.
I guess it depends on the quality of the scissor lift.
Yeah, I mean it'll be the thing is that it'll be supported at all four corners instead of by the ends of the lift, and the bed itself forms part of the structure of the lift.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I was thinking when you said like scissor lift, I was thinking kind of like a car jack.
Pretty much. I mean, think of it this way: at the end, so on the it's a square. Let's say it's a square printer right now, and you have to unfold the Z-axis and then all that stuff to get it to do its thing. So instead of that, it would already be ready to go. You would have so on the left end, you'd have one scissor lift that's like a little X connected, just the right way to the outside of the extrusions on the outer part. Or maybe on the inside of the extrusions, and there'd be a screw on inside the scissor lift that pulls the bits together, and then as it pulls them together, the bed would go up, and as it pushes them apart, the bed would go back down, and you'd have one on the left and one on the right, and and the scissor lift itself would consist of the frame, the scissors bits, the little X bits, and the bed. And that would be it. And so it could be, it would be a little wider, but you could squish it down even more. And if you really wanted to still fit in a filament box, you could just make the frame not as wide, your bed not as wide.
Do you have any aspirations or dreams to make an ARM type 3D printer?
Oh, what? Oh no!
like a maker arm of sort.
Let me tell you, it's a bad idea. Imagine a cantilever mounted on a cantilever.
No,
Yeah.
it could be fine.
Yep. You also probably wouldn't want to do a SCARA arm with an 8-bit processor using Trinamic drivers,
Oh
or
man,
anything running at 32x.
how much?
anything like
How
that.
much? How many projects that you like worked on in the past that were limited by like the current tech, like the processor speed and stuff, would be like infinitely better nowadays if they were done?
Well, as far as Maker Arm goes, I mean, that was a very interesting project. It was actually being done at a time when there were 32-bit boards around, so we could.
Oh, okay. They just
have done it
didn't want
right.
to.
Yeah, the problem with that project was just that it had feature creep and it tried to do too much in the first version. It really should have aimed at just being a very simple, maybe ARM. I mean, if it was going to target 3D printing first, then it should have simply targeted that one thing first. But pick one thing, and if it was going to be a pick and place, then it should have targeted that first. And then just get it working mechanically as well as possible in the movement.
Do you still have any prototypes of those?
Yep, I do. I don't know
Wow.
if it's a big crazy secret, but if you see right there behind me, behind that tripod, there is
Oh, it's just sitting back there.
It's back there down.
Every
on
time
my
I hear
shelf.
people talking about like robot arms and stuff, I think about the episode of Big Bang Theory where Howard brings a robot arm back from
Oh my
I think it was like
God.
NASA or something, and then he gets it stuck on his junk and he has to go to the hospital.
He built it,
Like,
I thought.
yeah. Well, no, he built it for NASA, and then
Oh.
like he loaded the wrong program, and he like was able to pause it, but he couldn't like get it to stop. And they're like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Well, it thinks it's holding a screwdriver in space right now, and if it continues to run." And then
So
like he
that's-
was at the hospital, and the lady just like shut his laptop off, and then it like disengaged it, and they're like, "Why didn't we think of that?" I thought that was funny.
Nice.
Oh.
Jesus.
So,
All right,
yeah,
I've just got motor wires to
trying to think
extend
of what
now.
else. I mean, the other plan about Marlon is like, to continue to support AVR is one of the things that I wouldn't say it's completely held. It hasn't held us back per se, but it's definitely
it would-
added a little extra work.
So that I'm actually, it's kind of funny you bring that up because I was thinking about that too. Like we've already stopped doing just for our firmware, stopped doing stuff for the Melzies just because of how limited their memory is. Because it's like now I got to count for, oh, well, can I run this on there? Well, you can. Oh, well, now the compile size is too big. Well, now I got to figure out how to optimize. I was like, I'm just done trying to optimize for these. Like, really, at this point, it's like upgrade your board. Like if you want to, like, we still have the old firmware available on our site, and like that's just in the free repository, but it's like we're not doing any updates to it. Like I'm surprised you guys are still supporting the 2560s and the 1284s and stuff. To be completely
Well, part of
honest.
that is, that forms the majority of my test machines. So, well,
You should do what I'm doing. Start switching out boards.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I can't exactly. I mean, I'm the test lab, as it were, for certifying these things a bit. So one of the
You
things
could
I want
just
I'm
keep
gonna
the
be working
boards
on,
in the. Oh, go ahead.
Well, one thing I'm working on next is going to be adding support for the pancake pot to Marlin.
This sounds like an excuse to business expense pancakes and pancake related supplies, Scott.
Oh gosh.
Well, I do have one. So I do have one that was donated for this purpose, and I did get started on that work. I just need to finish that up, and yeah, just get ready. We're going to be.
I thought about either building one or getting one, and then like at the events, you know, or Murph or something, like just be
Yeah.
us be making pancakes. Like, here, have some pancakes. Like, have it printing TH3D logo pancakes.
Yep. I printed some for my neighbors the other day. I was like,
We are
Yeah, I'm
living in
hang-
the future. We are printing food.
Yep.
Look at look says 1284p in 2023. Oof.
Oof. Tell me about it. So yeah.
I mean,
of course,
they were fine at the time. Like, they were the right processor at the time. But you know, we've
Yeah.
got, like, at this point, I'd rather take a Giga device knockoff than a 1284.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it too is kind of like I really love that you can take the newest version of Marlin and plop it onto like your old Ender 3 from 5 years ago, and
Yeah, because all
and
those
turn
are the
on input
1284s.
shaping, and it'll actually, it suddenly increases the value of the thing.
So I got a
makes it
question
go
for you.
faster.
We're talking about like turning them on, going faster, and I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Well, that was fleeting.
Well,
Um,
your whole business is kind of centered around improving the value of existing machines as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and that's why we didn't when we switched over. We were talking about the 2560, the 8 bits. I'm trying to retrace my steps here. It feels
Yep.
like an attack on me. Yeah, Doug is still running 1284s.
yeah, I mean 1284s are sometimes even like which one of these things,
I remember.
which one it is. Yeah.
Why is it that the Maple libraries do not work with, or the Maple environments do not work with the NeoPixel libraries? And is there a way to get that working? Because it will not compile. So like the Solval SV06. No, it will not compile. I can show you in a sec here.
Does the compile error? If the compile error points to the library, to the NeoPixel library, then
it does
we have
point to the NeoPixel
we have
library.
to update that library.
So yeah, I'm wondering if. Hang on, maybe it'll make sense to you here.
Sounds like an Adafruit problem.
Yeah, so the reason I ask is we have like the NeoPixel lighting kits, which I'm actually going to be putting on this printer, but they can't be used on the Solval SV06 with Marlin. They do work with Clipper, but Marlin, because it relies on that Adafruit library, it doesn't work. So basically, people either have to use Clipper or they switch to a different control board. But give me a second. I'm pulling down a copy of my firmware for that printer right now. And I'll show you what happens.
Hold on, your audio sounding a little weird, Tim. At least on my end.
Oh, it's probably because I was loading up and it was just pegging my CPU.
As for input shaping on a Melzi, if it has enough memory, I mean, some of these processors that don't have
the Melzi actually
flash,
has more than the 2560. The Melzi has less flash, but it has no more RAM than the 2560.
Yeah, in that case, it should work as long as it has enough room for your features.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Like, I had somebody actually ask a question on our firmware for the Creality RAMs boards if input shaping will work, and my response was yes, but you can't run extraneous features. Like, you're not running NeoPixels, you're not running auto bed leveling. It'll work with like just that. Like, right, you just have a stock printer, no extra features, just that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the cost in terms of flash is very small for the ZB.
Yeah, it is very flash, but memory wise though, RAM wise, it's actually pretty steep.
So as long as you're using a lot of features that don't use a lot of RAM, like you might even be able to, like if you notice you're like pegging the amount of RAM you're using, you can try adjusting the input shaping options a little bit to get it to use less RAM. But if you've got it down to the minimum and you're still kind of not quite there, I mean, you could do things like reduce the number of bed points that you're measuring, or I'm trying to think of what else uses buffers a lot. Like, there may be some other things you can do to like use, or you can turn on, there's actually a, what's it called, lightweight UI or whatever. You could try using the lightweight UI, or you could use, which gets rid of a lot of the extra graphics and stuff. And then there's also an option we have called, what is it? No workspace offsets, right? Which lets you get rid of that code.
Which I think I already have all that slimmed down in our builds.
Yep. And then there actually is another thing called Slim.
So here. So let's see here. So this is the SV06. This is our firmware, and we're using the
Right.
the GD32F103 RET6 Maple. We're using a Maple lib because it actually doesn't. So the thing is, Creality's GigaDevice boards, they actually can natively run the STM code and it runs fine. So you can actually run NeoPixels on the 422 boards that have the knockoff processors just fine because they can run the STM code. So now I'm probably going to lag because this is going to just absolutely decimate my CPU. So just bear with me for a sec.
Yep.
I'm going to switch over to here.
And
So
then,
I'm
of
just
course,
going to
you
show.
have and as you mentioned the Herculanum or the HC processors as well are not something that we can build for. So yeah, there's a few little...
Clipper hasn't even got that working.
Yeah, and the reason, and what I'm thinking is basically, again, this is part of the reason that I want to focus more on making it easier for you guys out there to do what you need to do, and then we're not going to worry too much about getting it integrated back into the mainline, except when we want to test and work on features and stuff. Like say we want to take something you've made and incorporate it but make it better and make it a standard feature, then in that case we would do that. But for the most part, I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be a lot. It's just like I hit a wall of stress a couple weeks ago with just the sheer amount of like work that would be involved in getting certain things supported and this constant like influx of stuff, especially things like the Herculanum board and all that. It's just like if we can work on making the APIs better, getting it easier for vendors and users to do what they need to do and modify it and stuff, then we'll worry less about all those forks out there that are so different and that that we don't have an update for. Sorry, we can make it easier for the vendor to take care of that update. But even now, a lot of them still start with version 208 or something like that. It's strange. Right now, 2121 is pretty stable. As far as I know,
I need to actually look here.
There's not a lot of funky bugs in there.
We're on 2.1.2 right now.
Yeah, 2121 has a.
Hang on a second. I just realized that we have some stuff I've merged in from the 2.2.1. I've honestly just been holding out for the 2.1.2.2 or whatever the next release is. All right, so here, so you can see here, I actually removed this here due to limitations of the clone CPU. They're not supported, so I can paste this back in though. This will still work.
I will be releasing a 2122 in addition to either a 213 or a 220. Maybe both. It depends on whether we do the. There's a new input shaper and motion system that's being worked on, provided to us by Ulendo, and it's got an improved set of input shapers and some other.
So
things.
I saw that they sell that. Let's say because they license that code, would I be able to integrate that into Marlin, but just for our, I think basically we probably wouldn't be able to provide the source code because we probably wouldn't be able to license it.
Well, what they want from me and from Marlin, the Marlin project, is to have a pathway to be able to offer it in every upcoming version of Marlin and future versions. Mm-hmm. So they've had us working on first their motion system with the input shapers, and they're all but they don't. But the stuff that they sell is actually filtered B-spline motion, which uses the fixed time motion system, but then also does some extra shaping on the curve of the acceleration curve, in addition to the input shaping part, to remove even more artifacts.
So here, I added this in. This is going to turn on the NeoPixel options. Watch what happens here.
Right.
So you saw it did a successful compile. So there you go, installing Adafruit NeoPixel 1.8.0. And I'm gonna get choppy here for a sec because it's gonna peg my CPU.
It's all right. Zoom a bit if you want.
Here I can just.
There you go. Control Plus also works in that app to like zoom the appearance. Good for these streaming situations. All right.
There it goes.
Right. So it says is not supported for that HAL. Well, yeah, you can comment out that line. Try that.
No, I think I did that, and then it throws somewhere else.
Well, that's what we want to see. That's what we really want to see.
So that's in here. Sanity
Yeah,
check.
that's
All right, so here.
Yep.
Oh, this is weird. If enabled and disabled, FISEC Mini. Okay, so that's weird. But anyways, let's see.
Yeah, I think actually
I want to double check here really quick. What the
so
pin
apparently
is
it does
on
work
there.
fine on the Mini 12864. That's interesting because it may be that it was.
Oh, hang on. I want to look at the
that.
pins here to double check because I basically want to tell this to go on a one of like the BL touch pins that we're not using, which is what we would have someone wired to. So I'm just double check. So PB, so PC6, I think will work. PC6. So, but that's not what's throwing the errors here. Let me just double check that it's not. Oh, that's a beeper vent. Hang on. So PB0 is what we want. I was like, wait, that doesn't sound correct. All right, so I commented out that sanity check. Because I did try that last time, and it errored out elsewhere.
Yeah, it will. Or it may not.
I'll laugh if it doesn't, because then I've been telling people it doesn't
or it
work,
not
because
may
it
not.
never worked for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I've been tweaking things in recent times, but I don't. So it may be actually already addressed in the bug fix branch. Well, there's your problem right there. Yep.
There it
your
goes.
Problem.
That's what it does.
Yeah, and the reason is
so
because
GPIO type def does not.
Yep, they're expecting the standard STM32 stuff.
It's the environment.
Although, actually, let me see.
So would there be a way to modify that environment? Let me know. Do I need to go into the INI file, or do we want like the common?
Well, no. It's what I'm referring to as the environment is the HAL. I should say it's using instead of using Maple.
Oh, the hardware. Okay.
The standard ST Micro stuff. So yeah. So that's the thing is and right now Maple is obsolete anyway, so you should probably just avoid it. Unless there's something that just
what do we do?
Without it.
This board will not work without Maple with this GD
CPU.
It will not. That's the thing. Here's the thing. If it worked with the regular STM one, I would just be shipping it with the STM.
Well, it could
just
be.
Saying, screw it. But it
Then
doesn't.
that it could be we have this already fixed up in the bug fix branch, but I don't know.
I mean,
it might be worth a try if but.
Let me see. I'll pull up. I'm gonna see if you guys added any. New updates. Let's see. Let's present. Share screen. Tab. Marlin. Here we go.
Yeah. One of the things with 2122 is
because I want to see what. Okay, so
let's see.
Let's see if I'm gonna make this full screen here.
Hooray, Field Gremlin.
I'm gonna look and see if there's any mention of Soval on here. Nope. Is there GD32? Trigorilla. Modified version of.
Yeah, click on the Maple lines.
So this says GD32 F103. That's the processor that's on the SVO6. So I wonder if this would work with the SVO6.
It could. I mean, if as you say, it's that Soval is actually Creality in disguise, then.
Yeah. So here, this is the environment we're using, the GD32 F103 RET6 Soval Maple. Now here's the thing. The interesting thing is that mentions right here GD32 F103.
Exactly, but we don't know. We don't have the further detail. Oh, it's an RE. We know that much, so it's probably a T6 or something like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna see here. I'm gonna see here what. Like, I want to see a picture of this. Trigorilla V 0.0.6. Because I've never heard of the V 0.0.6.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. That looks like. Yeah, let me switch this here.
It's midnight, people. It's time to be in the dark.
I wish there was a better picture of that. Let's see. Hang on. Let me see if I present. Anycube, yeah, they are doing all kinds of weird stuff. Okay, let me see. I can show this window.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Okay, so they're
Anycubic is
saying
interesting,
here. These are they're saying STM32 RET6, but then this guy also mentions GD30. So I might have to pull down the thing of, I have the board, one of those boards sitting here with the Gigabyte chip. I'll have to see if I'll have to see if it'll compile in Flash, because if it will, and we have an STM environment that works that we can use that, then screw it. We can just I can make another name, another environment called Soval.
Well, here's a trick you can try.
Yeah, this is it here. Oh wait, no, hang on. Oh, this is the same chip that Big Tree Tech used on that batch of boards that was that accidentally went out.
Right.
Because this was linked here. Yeah. Okay. So Soval's using these same chips on the stock boards.
I see.
Which I don't think you guys ever got an STM library working for that.
Oops. Looks like I have to answer a question. Yeah, as far as that goes. But those could both benefit. So, that's the thing. Yeah, it's got the GD thing, and we want to enable that faster clock. Well,
I don't think that really matters. I'm just trying to find an environment that we can use the NeoPixel library with. That's what I'm concerned about. I mean.
All right. Well, we'll try this. Go to your thing. Go to pins.h actually in your thing.
On my GitHub my GitHub or the.
In your VS Code.
Oh, I'm not.
Where you were building.
Go
back to your build.
I gotta open it back up. Hang on. Present.
Hurry
Stop
up,
screen. Share screen.
Time's wasting.
All right, here. So.
What you got?
Yeah, I want to go to my source pins. Oh god, pins STM32F1. All V1. Okay, so here's a V131.
Okay. No, that's not what I want.
Pins. Oh, you want the pins? Oh, the pins, the core pin. Okay, never mind. I'm in it.
Pins.h.
Yeah.
Get it.
Anyone
All right,
for
now find the Soval SV06. Okay. Now add to that. Either change that environment or add the other one as well.
Well, mine isn't going to have that environment. It might have a closed. It might. I don't think it's going to have the Trigorilla because I'm on 2.1.2 and I was looking at bug fix.
It does.
I might have. Does it?
Of course it does. The Trigorilla has been in Marlin forever.
You're thinking of the 2560. Let me see. I don't think the V006 is in here. No, it's not.
What?
I can hang on. I can cross. I can merge it in. I've done this before. I've merged in other.
All right.
Because I think hang on here. So I can paste this in from bug fix because I'm pretty sure this environment is in here. Yeah, it is. But I don't think it's going to work. It might compile. But I don't think it's actually going to flash on the board because I tried doing the same thing. I tried doing this, but with the Creality environment that extends from, and it didn't work. So I can even add in, like if I wanted to too as well. Like we just also do put both of them in there. Screw it, right?
Get rid of that space after ENV. There you go.
Good catch. All right, let's see.
What happens? Does it work? That's the question. It's all just, I'm just curious to see.
I don't know if it'll flash though. That's the thing. I mean, I can try right now. Like I'm pretty sure it'll build. I don't think it'll actually take it.
Why
yeah, I have the board right because I've tried it.
Well, I mean,
I got the board and the LCD right here.
Well, I mean, I don't doubt that it's true, but I'm just wondering what you think the reason is that it won't take it, because it's just a file, right? It's just
I'm
not a
wondering
bin
if it's
file.
I think it's something to do with the bootloader. I think it's something to do with the bootloader. Not
Does it
actually
need a
proper.
what kind of name does it give it? Is it the same? Does it
am
same
gonna
firmware
lag
name?
for a second.
Same firmware file name in both cases? So Victor is asking a little bit about Maple and Xfer, and actually there is there's a Maple build option which uses older STM32 libraries, which was originally I think it was the only thing we used before. But yeah, whenever possible, you should just skip the Maple one if you can. We may be getting rid of that eventually. The Xfer thing is actually related to a feature in Marlin where you can upload the firmware right during the build to a board which has already had Marlin flashed on it that has the ability to do this. And what it'll do is it'll see that the board is there. It'll upload the firmware file to the firmware right to the SD card, and then reboot the board for you and flash the firmware that way. So it's kind of almost, I don't know who uses it, but it was one of those things that we spent a bit of time adding because we could.
Yeah, so whenever I do a compile, I basically lose you guys because of the CPU. So I've got, we can see here. So I've got my SV06. I think this is a plus. Yeah, this is the one for my plus. I've got the board sitting here with an LCD hooked up to it.
Oh, how handy!
But we're gonna see if this one that I compiled will actually flash. This is why I keep all the boards laying around. I have a drawer full of boards that their sole purpose is for testing firmware builds. Because basically at a certain point, I only need the board and the LCD to test if our firmware works on it.
Before you do that,
all right,
just make sure that you set the right start address, because the bootloader is maybe a different size between those two environments.
How big is the? Hang on, let me double check.
Is the bootloader really that size?
So actually, the board build address on the Maple one is 0x.
Yeah. So you need to change that
7,000.
Yep. So you need to change that.
So yeah, so this needs to be, and then this would get the offset be 7,000 for the offset here.
Yep, and also just check that well, I guess that works fine. Just make sure the STM-F103 RE Creality environment. What other options are in there?
Well, that's how the Tri-Gorilla one is, and I've done this. I'm familiar with modifying the environments, but again, I'm probably gonna lag here, because of.
So actually, as long as I'm thinking actually now that 8 would have worked, but 7 is fine. You just don't want it to be bigger. Trying to run an address that's wrong, mainly. Okay, yeah, that looks fine.
Yeah, so here's a RX Creality. So this is the.
Okay. So there's some other things that you may not want. Maybe you don't want your servo to be timer 5. That has to do with which pin is used for the servo. So you need to compare that. Maybe you, let's see, maybe the SS timer doesn't want to be 4. Maybe the clock divider doesn't want to be 8. And maybe you don't need hardware serial 3. So you could remove, you could get rid of those flags if you wanted to.
Hang on, Scott. Just pause for a sec because my computer.
Darn PCs. I'm telling you, Linux and Mac do so much better at scheduling of processes.
So crossing over from Maple here, the DTemp timer channel is 4 for the Maple environment, and then we've got the DSS timer is also 4 here.
Yeah. Yep, so you don't necessarily want those to be that on your Soval.
And I'm not sure, so hang on, this also extends this, so maybe there's other flags. Hang on, let me compare these.
It doesn't extend Maple.
And this,
oh yeah, it does.
This then extends STM32F1 Maple. We gotta step
Yeah, but
back
we're
in
not
all
doing
this
maple
stuff
right now. So,
here.
well, yes, we are. Well, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're going to borrow what it said about maple. Okay, so then there's that. And so yeah, you don't need that. That's all good. Is there anything there? Let's see.
Doug says, "How many needs to set as priority or thread limit in the compiler?" Can you set a thread limit in the compile? I don't think you can, because it spawns a new instance every single time you hit compile. It's not like it's just sitting there idling. I've tried before. Trust me.
To limit the number of threads. I don't know. But
to not screw my. Or you know what? I wonder if I just set my web browser to like highest priority, if that would then just not.
It might.
Hang on.
Or set the compiler to lowest. I don't know. In general.
Well, I can't. The compiler's not spawned until you hit compile, and then it changes. I've tried before.
Or would it be VS Code that you set to the lower priority, or would it be? Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's hard to know.
Yeah, I've been through all of this before.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What's the command on Windows to set the priority of a process anyway? Set prio.
You just go into your task manager, right click, and hit set priority.
I see. So yeah, it's a big hassle because your compile's almost done by the time you go there and get it set.
Well, and figure out which one is which. Like that's the other thing too.
But also, yeah, the thread limit is an interesting one. You can actually do that, and then that can help. So like, I don't know if GCC has any setting like that, but I'll check just real quick. Our flag, GCC build flag thread limit.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try to. I just put the SD card here. I'm gonna try to power this on and see if it works.
Just for future.
Or if it even tries to flash. Let's see if it tries to flash.
Let's see. Iterations per thread can be done, I guess.
Okay, so yeah, see, it just sits here at the blue screen. No text coming up. Now, I don't know if it actually tried to flash it, or if it did flash it and it's not successfully booting. So let's find out. So it tried to flash it because we're not getting our logo here. So it tried to flash this code on there. But it doesn't do anything. Now,
can you connect by serial?
Well, yeah, it would, but it's not gonna. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna come up. It does have a USB to serial on here, so the serial is gonna come up. But whether I can actually communicate with the processor is another thing.
Right. So it is possible that some of those other options could be causing pin or timer or interrupt conflicts of some kind. So yeah, we'd have to find out. We'd have to match up everything perfectly to create a new environment for it.
Well, and I've messed around with this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like I've gone and messed. I've done like compared the build flags and the unflags and all that stuff before. I'm gonna close this out because I don't feel like doing that tonight. There you go. Well, hang on. How do I?
What is the cause of stuttering over serial prints? Oh.
Usually black up buffer.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually the case that you're printing really small segments, and they're finishing so quickly that the buffer gets empty, and then when the buffer's empty, it can't chain the moves together, and so it has to keep stopping because the last move in the buffer is a stop. Is to stop. It can't.
I haven't had that issue in a long time.
It has to decelerate. So. Yeah, that's the thing is you could use Meatpack or you could try using a higher baud rate.
I found messing with the block
for their stuff.
I found messing with like the block buffer size, giving it more of a buffer on processors that can handle that. Basically negates all the stuttering issues.
Yep. The only problem there is if you go to pause the print, it may take a couple minutes to pause.
Depending on the moves, most people, you are correct, but most people it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, there may be some way where we could, like in the future, like do some kind of adjustable buffer thing where it's like if it's a short segment, we'll allow more stuff to come in the buffer, and if it's a long segment, then we might just make that the end of the buffer. But,
hey, Top Hat, you said I use Arc Welder all the time too. He
like you said,
what Mr. Douglas, what crimps did you get for the motors? Because I can't remember what those are. And if you already figured out what those are, let me know, because I need to order some. Maybe we should carry some in the shop. That might be something I could get in as well, because we carry the SM, the JST SM, and the XH connectors already. So, and I'm pretty sure the crimp tool for those would be the same as the XH and SMs as well.
Yep.
All
They
right.
are. So as far as those keeping the buffer full things, yeah, like we're working on some ideas. I've been talking to Joe Prussia about, well, he brought up to me that he's been doing a little bit of optimization for Prusa firmware in that area, and that there may be a binary format that's even more compact coming up. Although I've got to say that generally speaking, Arc Welder is pretty good. And as in my studies, of which I have done many in my ruminations, I've determined that binary isn't necessarily going to be more efficient in any way than.
Yeah, I played with Meatpack briefly, and I didn't see much of a difference. It's more of a hassle. I'll let you know when the slow boat gets here. No, I'm saying what are the type of connectors? Because I want to bet my Chinese hookups can get me stuff in about a week or two to get those in. I get my stuff shipped via air for the most part. The only thing we get slow boated in is the filament, just because of the weight.
Yep.
All
So
right.
another possibility for avoiding stuttering would be just to, like, anytime there's a final move in the buffer, just make that deceleration take a really, just have it decelerate a little bit extra slow.
Yeah, just kind of slow it down. So
Or,
basically, it takes a while.
Or have the move be just a tiny bit, a little extra slow, just to give it a little extra time for the buffer to get some more data in it. But changing speeds a little bit can sometimes also have effects on things, because once you can only deal with the moves that are already in the buffer, right?
I haven't had any issues with Arcane slicing engine. We use Arc Welder and the Arcane engine in production here, and we don't have any issues.
That's funny. So Arachne is Arcane to you, huh?
Is that it? I always called it Arcane because I heard somebody else call it that, and that's what I've called it for years now.
No, it's
I am
named
using
after somebody named Arachne. It's a Greek name.
You are gonna laugh though, because I finally actually it's almost, I want to say it's been like at least 9 months, I want to say, if not more, that I've been using Prusa Slicer instead of S3D. I jumped ship from S3D.
Oh,
and honestly, after there was a learning curve, but after I got over that learning curve, I do like Prusa Slicer better.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. It's fine. I know
Doug's
been options to zoom the interface a bit.
Doug's been messing with I think he's looking at Orca Slicer, which is a fork of Bamboo Slicer, which is a fork of Prusa Slicer, which is a fork of Slick 3R.
Yeah.
It's a fork of a fork of a fork. What the fork is going on here?
They should call it Forka.
Fork you. Fork you, Scott. Fork you.
Forka Slicer.
I remember when GitHub was still a foreign concept to me, I remember someone telling me to fork their code, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, do what to your code? Like,
I'm going to call mine the Fork of Orca Slicer.
Simply outdated 3D. You know what? Krista still uses Simplified 3D. It does work though. Like, that's the thing. It works. If they hadn't screwed, here's the thing. If they had made their licensing model like Fusion, where you buy a license and you can have it running on, logged in on one computer at a time, I would have bought version 5. But them making it so you only get one activation and it's $200 per license instead of $150, I was like, yeah, no. Because here's the thing. Just for me, I have 2 desktops I use all the time. I have at least 1 laptop that I use fairly regularly for slicing. So, and potentially a second laptop. So I'm gonna spend $800 on a slicer. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, I think it should be one person, one seat. That's it.
Like, I pay for Fusion. Like, I'm not all like, oh, I'm only gonna use open source and no closed source. I use closed source stuff all the time. We're using closed source right now stuff to stream. We use Microsoft services for our business too. Like, I have no problem paying for stuff, but it's like, when you're not on the bleeding edge, which Simplified 3D still isn't, and you're demanding a premium and your licensing model sucks, guess what? You're not going to retain a lot of customers. And I know a lot of our customers were Simplify 3D users, and they also did not upgrade for the same reason I didn't, because they were like, this is too damn expensive. This new licensing model sucks.
Yep, I've been thinking about well, the reason I got Simplify 3D in the first place was just simply because I needed to be on the same page with the community and know what people are seeing. And
I don't think I can't remember the last time I've seen a video on it, aside from when Joel Telling did a video, and I'm pretty sure they probably paid him to do the video. But like, I haven't really seen many videos. I don't know of many people that are still using Simplify 3D unless it's the older version. Because here's the thing, like, yeah, the older version, it still generates G-code and it still prints well. One of these days, probably towards the end of the year, I'm gonna get Chris to switch over to Prusa Slicer. But the one thing that I do kind of like about Doug was telling me Orca Slicer supports arc welding, or arcs out of the box, I should say, not even arc welding, just generating arcs. And I don't think Prusa Slicer supports that right now. I arc weld, so we have Octoprint on all of ours, and we have the arc welding plugin on there, so I just arc weld on the pies.
Right.
So it's not that big of a deal for me. It's part of our workflow, and it just does it. As soon as we upload a G-code file, it welds it.
Nice. Well, Prusa is definitely working on the stuff. Joe's got some things in the pipeline that will be helping on their end. But yeah, in general, if you when you're slicing stuff, like first, like use arcs if you can, and that way you avoid many situations with very small segments. And then set the slicer to just not make such small segments when it does generate arcs. It should be I don't know, 1 millimeter segments is fine, really. 2 millimeter segments, heck. You're not going to notice the tiny facets.
There were a bunch of people. I remember people were like gung ho about Super Slicer, which is a fork of Prusa Slicer. But basically, the dev, when I was looking at switching over, there were like open issues, and he basically was like telling everybody, "Yeah, I don't have time for this. This project's basically abandoned." So I was like, "Okay." And I look at it this way: if I'm putting my eggs in the learning Prusa Slicer basket, at least I know, as long as Prusa's around, which should be for a while, they're going to keep their software up to date, right? But again, if you get stuck in an old version, it's not the end of the world. It's just a minor inconvenience. But yeah, that's the other thing with Orca Slicer. Like, what happens if that dev, because here's the thing, I've seen this happen a lot, like with a lot of community, like we have our own firmware and stuff that's a fork of Marlin, and I've seen like so many community projects for like 1 or 2 printers that the guy, the person that's doing the project is around for like anywhere from 6 months to a year, and then they just disappear. They're like, yeah, I got rid of the printer, or I'm not doing this anymore, and then they just vanish. Like
human nature. Yeah.
Like, I'm bored.
Yep.
Like, do you ever see what was the Rick? Do you ever see from Rick and Morty where he like started that like where he removes the curses from the items that give people powers, and then the guy just gave up, and he's like, okay, fuck this, I'm bored, and he burns the whole shop down. Like,
I might have seen that one, but
like that's how I feel like it is when people abandon the open source project. Like, I'm bored now.
Yeah. Yeah, but Rick kept a few things before he burned.
Yes, he did.
You know it. That's just Rick. Rick.
Oh, Morty.
Rick.
Hey, Doug, why don't you join in here?
Yeah, Doug, do you want me to send you the link?
He has a streamer link on. I sent it to him on Telegram.
You should hop
right.
on.
Be a lot
the
easier.
whole. So the next
lounge.
Yeah, the Maker Lounge. Do you want to do a giveaway?
All your wire shortening is definitely inspiring.
Do you...
No, extending. I'm not shortening it. I'm extending it, Scott.
Oh,
this is the last one.
No,
okay. I'm making them longer. So, yeah, I'm getting rid of the ribbon cable.
That's
what
I've got on my mind. I have a bunch of way too long stepper motor cables right now that I need to shorten. And I was like, it's such a hassle to do crimping. If there's some way I could just do this without crimping.
Oh my God! Well, that's one reason why I'm splicing in these. Like, what can I just splice in so I don't have to re-crimp these? Because I know the crimps are good on these ends here. So
Yeah.
I basically use 22 gauge wire to extend everything but the heater. The heater I use 18 gauge, and then I think
Hmm.
this is 20 or 22. I don't know. I've used this wire for stepper motors. I think I bought this reel like a couple years ago. Yes, it's 22. So
Yeah. It works for you.
I always keep assorted wires on hand.
Mm.
So just because you never know. Now look at, so there's no breakout board. We've got all the wires here.
Boom.
The thing is, I'm going
Boom.
to try to figure out how we're going to do the giveaway because it's cross-platform. Who here in chat is not on YouTube? Because I do have our YouTube bot rolling. I am going to put.
There are
I'm
4
going to
people on
put-
Twitch.
There's 4 people on Twitch.
Yep.
Hey,
17 on
Twitchies.
YouTube.
I'm wondering if I could do like a. Can we find like a web-based giveaway thing where people can like click a link and enter, or something like that?
Let's see.
Let me find something. Look here too. And I don't think anybody's watching on Facebook.
No.
We got 2 likes on Facebook. Is anybody watching on Facebook? Speak up in chat. Now I could use Nightbot again. Nightbot I think works for both. Or I think you can only log in with one at a time. Let me see. I'm logging in with our brand account here on Nightbot.
Nightbot. Oh.
Daybot.
Daybot. Oh. Brighter than the sun.
Yes, I
Master
don't
of
think.
karate and a friend to everyone.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Nightbot's the same way. It's only one platform at a time. Let's see. Settings, applications, my apps. Yeah, no. All right, well that's out of the question. This is some degen hour stuff. I don't want to hear it. You're up late all the time. This is when the magic happens, baby. Sitting out in the garage at 3 a.m., huffing solder
Yep.
fumes.
Yep.
Look at all
You
these
gotta
wires.
get this. You gotta get that stuff done before the whole world is a giant brush fire.
All right. Do you like my filament sensor mounting here? Because the stock sensor
That's-
broke.
That's
You know what?
fine.
It works. It'll
Yeah.
work fine because I can.
I think the
can
one thing I
actually
would
get
do
the
is
fil-
the one thing I think I would do is just flip it upside down because it would put the opening closer to the top.
Well, I got to feed in right here,
Yeah.
and it has to feed this way. The sensor is
Oh.
directional.
Yeah.
So-
I guess I would mirror the universe in order to make that happen. I'm not sure. You used to reverse
I
everything.
mean,
else.
I'm also just kind of leaving this here to hold it. I'll probably just let the filament sensor
Yeah.
hang out like I do on all my printers.
You could always.
I never
stick
got
a couple
there's
wires.
people that are like, oh my god,
There's-
well I need to mount my filament sensor. It's like, do you really though? Do you really? It can just hang
Yeah.
out. It can chill. It'll be okay. It's not gonna be offended that you're just letting it hang out and chill.
Oh,
I just
Jerry's
realized
up.
I just
They're
Hi,
generally
Jerry.
made that way.
I had to open my bag of zip ties with my mouth because I just got these all at the correct. You know, you like cinch up all the wires and it's like just ready for a zip tie, but then you don't have a zip tie. It's like, oh no, I can't let these go because then I got to redo what I just did. So I'm gonna put these all together right here like this. Oh, look at that! And then I have some split loom here that we're gonna put
Oh.
over this.
Split loom. Jeez, you're going all out, man.
You know, I like to do a professional job, okay? I can't have like some half-ass wiring job. If a customer sees a printer, I'm like, man, if his printer looks like that, I don't want him working on my printer.
Well, why don't you use those curly wire wraps? Don't you like those?
So, you know what? I had a little bit of. This is just what I have. I need to actually stock some stuff like this in our shop for like doing printer builds.
Right?
Is this one? I'm gonna be a little upset if this is too small. You know
Oh,
what?
I
Hang
think
on. If I
that's too
don't,
big.
if I don't include the sensor wire, which is fine, I can zip tie that to the outside. If I
Yeah.
don't include the sensor wire, will it fit?
I feel like you're good. I mean,
I'm
it
just gonna
looks
make
fine to
this
me.
easier. I
Did you
want
find
everyone.
something?
I'm just gonna type everyone's name in the wheel of names and
Oh, okay,
and
that
do
works.
explanation maker lounge. So I'll write all your guys' names down, and I'll pick a winner after like 10 minutes. It gives people plenty of time to enter.
Okay, this is just too small. You know what? I'm gonna go run in the garage really quick and see if I have split loom, because I have a box of random shit in my garage, and I think there's split loom in there.
What's new, Jerry? Doing any good designs lately, man? Probably. His model shop is impressive. Constantly developing more stuff. Let's see.
I'm surprised my headset's reaching in here, but he prints a ton of shit.
Oh yeah, always impressed. I've taken whenever I go to these events, that's what I end up with most of is pictures of like the creative, like fully completed. Don't just 3D print it, man. You got to paint it. You got to finish. You got to put a diorama around it. You don't just
Okay, I do not have split loom in there. I might have some in here though. Remo, you're gonna have to move, sir.
Yeah, so printing and painting, exactly. It's like I really like the way things look when you paint them with like acrylics too. It's like,
oh, hang on.
The kind
Reduce,
of paint you
reuse,
wouldn't
recycle.
normally choose.
Here. This is an old. This is actually from my Solval, and look at they have the loom on here. We're gonna take this loom off of here.
There you go.
Not like I'm ever gonna use this screen for anything.
Painting Ripley Power Loader. Nice. So that's a lot of yellow. Well, I can drive that loader. Be my
And
guest.
Krista, once you get everybody's name in the wheel of names, you can share that
I will.
through StreamYards.
So what are we gonna give away first? An easy ABL?
I mean, I think how many people we got watching? We got 21 viewers here.
21. Yeah.
Where do you want it?
Steve, this upgrade came 18 months too late. My MOSFET died, mainboard died, printer went into the bin. At least I have a bin of parts out. No! Don't bin it just because, like, things died. Come on. You have printers. You can print parts. And if you only have one printer and that printer died, you can also contact us. We print parts for people.
Right?
And we're very fairly priced, too.
Right? And if you're
I was like shopping the competition, so to speak, and Matter Hacker's minimum charge for a print job is like $250, even if it's just a small thing.
wow.
Like that's a lot.
Yeah, you could buy a whole new printer for that.
I know, right? Just go buy it. It's cheaper to buy a whole new. It's cheaper to just buy a printer instead of having them printed for you.
Yeah.
All right.
And here's the thing, here's a pro tip. It's like a lot of people have just spare boards from the printers that they upgraded lying around. So if
that's what I'm
really
saying. I was gonna throw.
Board,
Yeah, I was gonna throw this board and like just the whole set, the ribbon cable, the breakout board, and the control board. Just throw it on our site for like, I don't know, $30 because it all works. Like,
yeah.
You put on there used working pole.
Yeah, the one printer I have, which is kind of like
Some
I've got
ugly
two printers that are deconstructed right now. And the one is my original Prusa i3 I'm doing a revamp on that. And then I've got a Micromake D1, baby.
It's
a Delta bot. It's a Delta bot that is like a really crappy Delta bot made of like spare parts that they sell. Micromake sells in a kit, and they're
I've never
different from each other.
Micromake.
Yep, they may not be around now, but between 5 and 8 years ago, they were around doing things, selling stuff.
Isn't it crazy how far like all the printers have come in the last like 5 years?
It's the last 5 years have been insane.
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
Like I remember like starting with my ANET and being like, wow, this thing is pretty good, even though like by today's standards it was a pile of shit, but it got me started.
2 Anycubics. I've got 2 Anycubics too, or maybe just one. I guess I have one.
I have
I've got
one
the,
now.
I've got a Chiron.
So do I. I'm
Chiron.
actually, there's the next one I'm doing a breakout board removal and board swap on is the Chiron. I'm gonna be putting the I'm gonna do the MKS Monster 8 32-bit board in that.
All right, nice. Yeah, I ended up, I used your conversion kit on my Chiron, and I converted your conversion kit a little bit so I could get 2 extra wires on there, so I could still use a couple of the things that were not connected. And now it's very good. It's my second favorite printer, but it's just so big that I
That's why I don't
want to
get. That's why I don't want to get rid of it, is because it is my biggest printer, and I had another large printer, but it did not make it home from Colorado.
Yeah, that was a sad story.
It got decimated in the trailer.
It was very bad. He was very
and
mad.
it was right. I was pissed because I had just put like 8 hours into that printer rebuilding it, like it was all custom, like it was literally just a custom machine, and then we stopped and I checked on it and it was fucked. Like I was like looking at the bed was bent, the frame was bent. I was like, there's no saving this. I was like,
yep.
Well, into the trash it goes. I pulled the electronics out of it. I don't know. Actually, I think it's main. Actually, I think it's funny because the main board for that's going to probably be going into my Chiron.
Oh, my print's done.
Because the main board was good. Doug's actually running my the old hot end setup and everything from it, because I had a really nice orbiter on there with a Fadus Dragonfly BMO on there.
Mm-hmm.
I went out. I put some nice shit on there, and yeah. All right. Bertha lives on in your basement. Yeah, and it's on another big printer. Doug picked up. Do you remember the CR6 Max? Remember that flop, the CR6s? That big flop that Reality did?
It didn't work. It didn't sell them, huh?
No, they were bad. They also had a really horrible touchscreen on them. That was like a big thing too.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
Look at that worked. Look how nice that looks now.
That's cool.
And I'll just have my filament sensor cable and my sensor cable strapped to it, which is fine. That's how most of my other printers are. I gotta carry this stuff. I'm curious to know if we carried like the Lumen stuff, would you guys buy that from us? Because I can definitely get that stuff in.
Ooh, nice.
I feel like especially if we're moving into more DIY. Krista, you can put your camera up big. If you're showing something off, if somebody's showing something off, switch the cameras up.
There it is. Very nice.
Is that Sapphire Ruby?
Yeah, it is Sapphire Ruby.
Ah, I know my colors.
Is that a dual color filament or something? Wow, they're cool. I like what happens with multicolor filaments when they go through
it's a matte as well.
Nozzle. I feel like you could pull that and it would be like an accordion.
I like these because they're fidgety.
It's hilarious. That's great.
All right.
Yeah.
This is really once I just got to put the ends on the wires that need plugs, and then I'm gonna flash.
Carry on.
Oh no, I was gonna say the only thing. I'm gonna try flashing this as a CR10 in my firmware and see how close that gets me, because I might just be able to do a CR10 and change the E-steps and the sensor and the probe offsets. Otherwise, I have a DIY firmware, which is like for printers that are not officially supported. It's like I don't know if you ever saw that. It's like a simplified config that walks you through like setting your end stops, your motor directions, that kind of stuff. So, but the nice thing is, like, because I have certain things turned on in the firmware, like different features and customizations. So like you can still get that same experience even on a printer that's not like completely officially supported, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they don't have to mess with all the Marlin stuff. So basically they get all our defaults still with a not supported machine.
That's handy.
Yeah. Yet another thing that I did for myself that ended up making its way to customers. Because I wanted a simple way to do that. It's like, well, I got this printer. I want to throw a board in it, or throw another board that we support in there, but it's not an official model we support. So I like an ease of updating my printers too.
So someone in the chat earlier mentioned was talking about how their friend wasn't that impressed with the micro make, and we of course mentioned the Ender 5
Or the anchor make.
S1.
We're talking about the anchor make.
Right, the anchor make, right?
I think that was Rain. Look, it's Rain.
Yeah.
He's in our Discord server. He's actually one of our mods.
Okay.
Yeah, we call him Rain. I know his real name. I know his real name.
Oh.
Yep.
In general, yeah,
Thanks
I think in
for
general
liking
the thing
new
is
layout.
that what people describe as their impression with the printer is like a lot of times has very much to do with that user interface. It's like that's their only view into and interface with the machine is that user interface. And like to not do that right is just such an affront to the state of the art. You got to do it right. And
they did a lot of stuff good hardware wise on the Ender 5 S1. It's gonna be a printer I'm gonna keep once we're done. We're working on the getting a mount for. We're working on a mount right now for our probe. So we can get rid of this. I hate the CR touches. So,
yeah, it's an important platform for me to test input shaping and the new motion system and all that. So I definitely, it's the only machine I have actually that is a Z bed and an XY gantry, except for the belt printer, which by the way
that's actually a Core XY though.
Yep, the belt printer is a Core XY. It's my only Core XY. Yep. So in fact, I'm thinking of like taking the belt printer parts and putting them onto the Ender 5 S1 and turning it into a Core XY.
So I think the Mercury project, which is they convert Ender 5 and Ender 5 Pluses to Core XY machines, which we've been testing for a while, and we're gonna be like selling full kits for that.
Oh, cool.
But I think the S1 is supported as well. I could be wrong, or maybe they were working on it.
Yeah, they definitely should work on it. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Because that's. I mean, I would also like to just get more familiar with Core XY and the differences. I'd like to see, okay, here's the results I get.
If you can get your hands on an Ender 6, that's a good one too.
What's it called? Oh, and the Ender 6?
The Ender 6. I have one. I like that printer a lot.
Just so everyone is aware, we are having a couple promos going on our website right now. Our Easy Pi P4 Plus kits are $20 off. It's a really good deal. So they're $109.99. And all of our Easy Choice filament is $3 off every roll. So they're
$17 a kilo.
Yeah, 17 a kilo. It's a steal of a deal. So
we're talking about filament, not cocaine.
Yeah.
Okay, just to be clear. I know this is the midnight stream, but we have not. I am not Pablo Escobar. Okay.
I mean, you are slinging a.
Oh no!
So I mean,
I'm gonna have to extend my sensor wire. Oh no!
No, the Tronxy X5 SA is another. Is that also a Core XY? The Tronxy X5 SA. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the only problem with that is you have to buy a Tronxy. That's the only problem there.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm just gonna keep my eye out if somebody's giving one away.
Oh, fair enough.
I'll ignore it. I'll be like, oh, I'll take that.
All right, so look I estimated those wire links pretty good to get to the control board. Look at that.
Yeah, look at you.
So the question is, do I make an extension or do I just cut this off, splice it, and then crimp on a new 3-pin?
That's the question.
So I put here, so you can see here, this was made for the ribbon cable, but I put zip ties here so this can't move in or out.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, I could get fancy and 3D print a grommet and stuff, but you know what? This works.
Yeah, that's probably the way I'd do it too. Unless I had a grommet lying around.
All right. Well, we're gonna just cut and extend this.
Cut and extend. Fine.
Well, while you do that, I'm gonna open up the wheel of names and let's start with giving away a roll of filament.
Okay.
So
you want to switch that over?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Chris has got that. And then after, we'll probably hang out for a little bit longer, and then I'll probably save the final power up and crimp and stuff for another stream. Maybe we'll do one tomorrow. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out the format we want for. No, Chris, you can make the wheel names bigger. That's fine. You don't have to make me.
I'll need you to make it bigger because I can't really switch tabs right now.
There we go.
Thank you. So we are ready, and
Here goes, people. I hope I'm not on there.
What are we giving away here?
a roll of filament.
Okay.
And it
Oh,
goes
We're gonna
to
do one
Mr.
more giveaway.
Smith.
Steve Smith.
Steve Smith.
Hey,
Yeah.
Steve Smith. I'm pretty sure you're a customer of ours. If you are, post an order number in chat, and then we'll get your information. Post an order number with your current address if you have one in chat. Otherwise, you can just drop us a line.
Okay, should we do
Yeah, any
another one?
any in stock easy choices. So hang on, I'm gonna see. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we can also use that little star thing to mark people's entries. All right, we got 4 viewers on Twitch, and we got 23 on, or sorry, 19 on YouTube, 4 on Twitch. It actually shows we have 0 on Facebook. So, all right, there we go. Steve's got a 313. I'm gonna star that 313. There we go, 313579. I'm gonna pull up his order really quick. And Steve, do you know what filament you want from our Easy Choice line? What color? As long as it's an in-stock one. I'm gonna post that in chat here. So if you want to browse all of our Easy Choice filaments, this is for everybody. You can check out our Easy Choice filaments right here at the link in chat that I just dropped.
Is there anything else you want to give away, Tim?
I'm thinking here, since this is our first stream.
What about bed cement?
I don't know. I think people would rather have. Let's do this. Dealer's choice. Okay, I'll send you out. I'll send you out one of my. I'm probably, if he's making a choice, I'm probably gonna send him dad shorts. You have to get your own white New Balances though. They're not included.
Right.
Actually, I just realized for this sensor extension, I have a 3-conductor cable with white, red, and black in it. All right, it's dead. Hang on, I was just getting his number 313579. I got you. He ordered like a couple. Oh no, never mind. I was very confused. Where is he? Oh, he's in Sweden. Sweden, yeah. Is that address current, Steve? Also, since we're gonna be shipping stuff, if you want something else as well, I will give you a 10% off anything else you want to buy, and we'll cover the shipping. How's that sound? I'm gonna do this, Steve. I'm gonna make you a ticket here, and then you can get me details on here. Let me see.
Very
Open
nice.
new ticket. Steve.
I had a good time my last time in Sweden for the 3D Meetup Sweden event. It was really fun.
I'm a heathen, and I have not been outside of the U.S. I don't even own a passport.
Womp womp.
I'm
Good
making a
idea.
ticket for him right now.
You could
Okay.
go to Canada, and it's just like the U.S. but with better beer.
I like beer.
Yeah. And nicer people, generally speaking. Not that you all ain't wonderful, but you'd slice someone's throat if they got in your way. Out in Canada, they kill you with kindness.
Oh, sorry.
You'd be surrounded by a bunch of people going, "Oh, so sorry." No
Oh,
worries.
sorry. Oh, so sorry. All right, Steven, I sent you. I made a ticket, so if you want anything else, let me know. I have to write the order up custom, but if not, I'll ship you out your filament tomorrow.
Okay.
So I wanted to do a kind of bigger one. So let's do this. Let's do an Easy Pie kit.
An Easy Pie?
Yeah.
Okay,
the
let me write this down.
$120 Easy Pie kit.
Okay, are we ready? Let's roll.
Do we want to let people? I'm not sharing your
Oh.
screen right now.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to let people enter in that haven't entered
Oh, yeah.
yet?
I can.
Just in case. Let's give another minute here. So, you want me to copy and paste what you post?
Yeah.
You got it. You got it. I got it.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm widely traveled. I'd like to go to more places, but I'm a bit timid. Like I'd love to go to Thailand and Vietnam, and
I heard Thailand's beautiful.
other places that are very different from what my current surroundings always have looked like.
Wait, what does Doug say? You got it?
You
I
got
got
it?
what?
I got it.
You got it.
I don't know what he means.
I think he was just with us going back and forth.
Hey, we got people in Twitch.
Okay.
Finland. I wouldn't mind visiting Finland. My ancestors come from Finland.
Finlandia.
I just watched a video of some company in Finland that makes steel, and Jamie Heineman was there reviewing this steel stuff, and the Finnish people were just hilarious.
Would you say they finished things correctly?
Well, I'm just glad that somebody finished because I wouldn't be here otherwise.
Oh my goodness.
Put him. He's got jokes.
If I was any more Finnish, I'd be shellac.
Doug's wait. As an American, I left the airport there and was like, "Damn, Americans are ugly as fuck compared to these people." Oof.
Yeah, we're a melting pot, so the first stages of any melting pot situation are never too pretty. But don't worry, 1,000 years, we're gonna be like Adonis, and
That's funny.
We're all gonna be just
All right.
gorgeous.
We're straight up are like goblins compared to them.
That's right. That's why I can't go to Sweden because I'll never want to leave. I'd be crying at the gate. Be like,
That'll be like, I'm never coming back.
Everybody is so smart and
Adopt
nice
me.
and cool.
Do we need to find a nice Swedish family to adopt you, Scott?
I don't know. It's not really the weather though. It's the weather for me.
It's just
Yeah,
too
I
cold
like,
there for you.
I like northern climes. I grew up in New England, but I've been spoiled by living down here in Austin now.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't mind the cold.
Yeah, well, that's only because you forced yourself to not mind the cold.
I grew up in the Midwest.
The trick, Mr. Potter, is
I
not
would
mind
miss,
it's so cold.
I would have to stay in an area where I can go to Menards.
Right? Well, you
Like,
got to go to
come
Menards.
on.
Don't worry, we have our version of
We got-
Menards here.
Yeah, but they don't have the 11% rebate or this sick ass jingle.
Save big money at Menards.
Can't believe you right
Pay
now.
big money at Menards. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Austin is a cool place to visit. We got Rossman Repair Group just moved into the neighborhood recently, and I
Dude,
had to go there and get my
His
laptop fixed.
videos about dealing with the New York State. Holy
Oh
shit.
yeah,
Like,
yep. Totally relate.
oh
It's
my
like,
God.
did you know that? I don't know if you knew this, but the government is made of people, and people are flawed
Whoa,
and stupid.
no way.
Yep, they're flawed and stupid, and they keep making mistakes and misfiling things, and also they don't really care about their jobs because they're only doing them to tide themselves over until they get a better one.
Like
So
the,
yeah, it's really tough.
it-
You're not going to find a lot of people who are like really passionate about doing,
right? I just love
filings.
filing I love it. I just love filings.
Yeah,
It's what I
that
live
character in
for.
that movie who loves filing, they don't exist.
Like, or it's like what was that movie, The Accountant, where he's like secretly a hitman? You never know. It's always the quiet ones. All right.
That's him.
So
That's
let's.
exciting.
Do you have the wheel of names ready, Krista?
I do.
Get big savings at Tim Hoagland 3D Studio.
My
All
favorite
right.
thing was when I was first starting the company. I had some customer that was like being a super Karen and asked to speak to my manager, and I literally replied back. I was like, "What do you think TH and TH3D stands for?" And I
Right.
still had, and I had to explain that to them because they didn't get it, even though they saw my name Tim Hoagland on the
Right.
correspondence.
Right.
I am the manager.
Yep.
Like,
Sorry if it's me, and then you got to go to the Pope.
just send them like the phone number to like the rejection hotline or something. Be like, here, you can speak to my manager here. Steven's on the wheel, Krista. What the hell?
Huh?
What kind of shit show are you running here?
Did I miss something?
Yeah,
Oh,
come on,
Yeah,
man.
you did.
Stephen Poole. Stephen Poole's a good guy. He's been around since like the OG days.
There we go.
All right.
Now he's on.
That's okay. I'll write her up for that, Stephen.
Nah.
He'll get 30 floggings.
Yeah, see, Steven gets it. He's in Georgia, but he's been from Rhode Island. He's spent 31. He's got in Georgia for 31 years, and not because he got stuck there either. It's because he likes it.
Doug's
Good one.
wife was in Georgia for a while.
Oh yeah, the one thing I love about Georgia is that some of my favorite shows end with the "Made in Georgia."
Made in Georgia.
Made
Okay,
in
let's do
Georgia.
this.
They love peaches there for some reason.
3.
They do, but
Two.
I have a feeling that there's going to probably be
One.
all this global warming is going to wipe out the peaches, and then
No, I love peach. Oh,
Yeah.
oh. Okay, I thought I was gonna land on Rain there for a second. I was like, we can't have him winning anything.
Sorry,
Midlife
Rain.
Chaos. Are you still around?
Speak up, Midlife Chaos. Must be present to win.
Yes.
midlife
Assume.
chaos.
Where'd my pen go?
Yeah.
Oh, it's right here.
Well, I have Stephen Pools.
Is he around? Going once?
We're gonna
I
redraw if no one speaks up.
Not.
5.
Hang on, give it a second.
Okay.
I got
I'll give it a minute.
2:16:30 seconds, so I'm gonna give it till 2:17.
Okay.
I've won before on these streams. I miss doing the late night streams. Like, I'm most productive at night, and like I also don't have customers calling and expecting support replies at night. So,
True.
This is our chill hour.
he's here. He's here.
He's here?
Okay. Do
Excellent.
you have an order with us, or have you ordered with us before? If you have, post your most recent order number in the chat. If
If
not,
you have not, he can email me.
yeah, you can email Krista.
Yeah.
Congratulations! You just won yourself an Easy Pie kit.
You're gonna love it. They are fantastic.
Which those,
I have
if you
them
guys
on
want to
both
pick up your own
recordings.
Easy Pie kits, so if you are above are running the awesome Marlin firmware and not Clipper, and you want to put your printer on the network, the Easy Pie kits are perfect for that. And you just plug them in. I've done all the hard work for you. You just plug it in, and you go.
Voila.
You are.
How many
customer,
printers
I
can
get
you
your order
connect to
number?
this thing?
What that, Scott?
I was curious how many printers you can connect to it. Just one?
We recommend just one. I know there's hacks around Octoprint because it runs Octoprint.
You're
I know there's hacks to run multiple, but in my experience, when I did that, Gina doesn't recommend it. So if Gina doesn't
Okay.
recommend it, you can do it, but
Yeah.
it's not a supported thing. So you can do it on yours. Your thing is yours, but
Nice.
if you modify it and be like, hey, it's not working after I screwed with it, my response is going to be, we're going to go back and flash it with our image and only use it on one machine. So,
Yep.
because the problem is
Makes
you
sense.
get like The problem is you can have it, but like if you reboot the instance IDs for like the USB and the webcams, like you got 2 cameras, you got 2 printers, it gets pretty screwy sometimes, and it's best just to not use it like that. So trust me, if there's a way I can make it support multiple printers reliably, I would have done it by now.
Yeah. Yep, I hear you there.
Did he post his order? Did you get it, Krista? Did you get his order?
I'm still waiting. I'm gonna ping him right now again. I'm on the
All right.
YouTube right now.
Well, I have my sensor wires extended, so I'm gonna start crimping some cables, man. Did you see? Did you see? I think it's Nero. He's got a shirt that says "Crimping ain't easy," and it's got the picture of those PA. I think the PA 90, like really nice Japanese crimps. Which I originally liked those more, but then I started using the ones we have where it does a double crimp, and now I'm kind of sold on the double crimps because I'm lazy.
Oh yeah.
I have both though. Oh, is that one of those weird illusion things with the strings?
Yes.
Here, you can make Scott big
It is.
here.
It just counterintuitively looks like something that shouldn't quite work, but it does.
I know, right? Our brains are like, what is going on? It's not right.
1761.
It's scary. It's scary.
It is strange, but it works this way too. It works in every direction, pretty much. Why? But yeah, it's a strange thing. But I hope to. It needs some fixing up because the way these are connected, not so good. It needs like better thing. But yeah, I was looking at this and I was remembering that the first part I did took 6 hours, and then I did another print at faster speed that took 2 hours, and the one that took 2 hours looks better than the one that took 6 hours.
Wow.
But the idea is that the printer comes on. It says on the box that it's 5 times faster, and I figured out what that meant. There is a 5 times speed that you can set on it, and it's like it's 5 times 50 millimeters per second is what it is.
Oh.
So it's 5 times faster than your typical print speed of 50 millimeters per second.
Well, that's kind of a cop out.
Right.
all
That's what
right.
they mean. In case you were wondering, that's the mystery answered.
What's it called? Midlife Cast. If you want, I'm gonna create a ticket. So if you want anything else, I'm gonna give you the same deal I gave Steven. If you want something else, whatever you want out of the shop, I will give you at a 10% off. So otherwise, we will just ship your pie kit.
So the other topic on my list for today was, Bamboo is starting their own Thingiverse clone.
Oh, are they?
Their own version of Thingiverse Thangs. What's the one that runs Things 3D?
Printables.
Printables. Yep. So yet another place where we're going to have to be complaining about our objects being uploaded without our permission.
Right.
Yep. And you can guarantee that this one is going to be run by Bamboo. Which of all the things they do, I mean, a lot of the stuff they do is great, but we do worry about the cloud stuff. I'm not a fan of the cloud.
Here's the thing: it's gonna take people getting burned a couple of times by the cloud for them to realize that it's a problem. So, yeah.
And yep, and then
they gotta touch the stove a couple times and get burned.
Yep, don't want to upload things because I can understand that. But people coming into this stuff all new.
They don't know any better. I mean, my whole thing is like I hate doing stuff like that, like because it's just kind of sleazy, and like I try to be very careful with like our marketing because I don't want it to be like, look at they're stretching the truth and stuff. Like I think we kind of expect it with like the Chinese companies, but still doesn't make it right. Like but what can you really do to like hold them accountable? Do you know what I mean?
Not much, you know. I mean, when it comes to like things like copyright violations and so forth, it's hard to challenge that, depending on the situation, you know. So, yeah, I feel that. So that's just another issue that will be there, but it also means, you know, they'll integrate it with their app, and you'll be able to like go and into the app and type something like, you know, chair, and 3D print a chair right from
My whole thing that I worry about with the all the Chinese stuff is like them, you know, here's the thing, like if, you know, for people printing shit off Thingiverse, like it doesn't really matter, right? But like if you're a company and you're sending your files and designs up to these cloud systems, like what's stopping them from taking them and using them for other shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Like stealing your designs, basically.
Yeah, there may be that. I mean, I'm not sure how you can get around. There's not exactly a way to do DRM on that, you know.
No, there's not.
I have to say, the way that Bamboo has done the interface in the slicer to their service, which will be available soon, does look pretty good. They've done a really good job with their slicer.
Oh, it looks nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying their stuff doesn't look nice.
Yeah.
I just don't trust it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Bamboo is generally speaking really good with user experience and user interface. The one exception being the screen on their P1P sucks, but otherwise, and the new screen on their A1 looks pretty good. A1 Mini seems decent. But yeah, that's the trick. There's a lot of details in that user experience. So that has been the main. I think that's the main news this week, has been the AMS and all that. And my main takeaway from it all is that there's a lot of waste to be mitigated.
The poop, you don't like the poop. We get it.
I don't like the poop shoots.
You're not a fan of the poop shoots.
I'm going to do my part.
So let it be known, you heard it here on the TH3D channel. Scott is not a fan of poop shoots.
Not a fan. I do not like seeing your filament waste yeeted out into the ocean to choke some turtle. It would be much better to reuse that. So if I can get this thing to work and actually produce I mean, if you think about it, like when the average print, like what length of, if you took that purge block and all that yeeted filament, what length of filament do you think that you'd end up with?
I have no idea. I don't know if it'd be that much. I mean, like, I get trying to save this stuff. My whole thing is like, is the trouble gonna be worth it? You know what I mean? Because like, I played with that I had that thing that turns plastic bottles into filament, and it was cool, but dear God, was it fiddly. And I'm like, and you don't get much filament out of a bottle, and it's like, I cannot see myself using this because it's just such a pain. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you don't get that much out of it. Like, that's the other thing.
So
yeah, for smaller stuff, yeah, waste material can be the same size as the part itself. Absolutely.
Yeah, and often more. You know, if you're doing a small part that has a lot of color changes, you end up with this giant, purge cube. So I guess basically I'm looking at the size of that purge block, and I'm looking at this exactly. Oftentimes the purge block can be done as a second part. That's a great idea, actually, Steve. I seem to remember there actually is an option.
Some people have been doing stuff. Yeah, there was
to do that as the purge. I totally agree. That's a great idea. Zero waste, because you totally take your purge and put it to something else. But the thing is, most of the time, people are not going to be printing more than one object. They're going to be just printing the one. But yeah, I totally agree that instead of a purge block, like even the slicer should, or whatever, they should just generate. It should be. The slicer should give you a set of options. Like, do you want to print a purge block, or do you want to print a purge block that is, some useful thing like a bottle opener, or do you want to, a stack of bottle openers, or a whatever,
Oh yeah, like they have predefined objects that are actually useful that don't matter what color they are.
Yeah.
That'd be a
You could
good
just-
idea.
I mean, and the slicer could contain them in a folder somewhere, or you could add your own. That I totally agree with that idea. I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah, like, hey, I want to turn instead of pooping it, hey, turn it into like a chip clip or something. We can always use chip clips.
So yeah, I haven't actually bought the silicone stuff yet. So folks, give me any advice you want about the silicone I'm choosing. I'm looking pretty much. I'm thinking of a hardness, a Shure rating of 20, between 20 and 30. Seems about right. 0 might be a little too soft.
I mean,
But I
20
might
30
get
is
some,
pretty
I might
soft.
get some 0 anyway, just because.
And in later news, Scott will be starting a custom flashlight service soon.
Oh yes, and then I'll be offering a special custom flashlight service for you all. I will have.
You'll have,
post
you know
the-
what? You're gonna make a website that you can customize all the attributes of it.
I'll be sure to send the I'll send the printable molds up to Thangs and printables for you.
Oh my god,
And,
could you see people like losing their minds having something on there? Like,
Yep, I actually have. I know someone who would be more than happy to volunteer to produce a cast. The casting process might be a little tricky.
once you get it down though, it's just pure profits. Okay, I can't remember
Yeah.
who I was talking to, but he
It's
was
true.
telling me about a guy he met over in China, and his alternate business, like he does 3D printers, but his other business is literally adult toys. And he was like, it's just the most random thing. And he's like, just in his office, and there's just like a flashlight on his desk. And it's
Right.
like, what? Like, what? And he's like, oh, and he explained it. He's like, okay, that makes a lot more sense than you just literally having a random flashlight on your desk. You know,
Nice.
and then I asked him, I was like, did he let you try it? And he's like, no.
So,
I think that was Sam Prentice I was talking to.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah,
he
you-
just got back from China.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was doing all the Creality stuff, and I don't know if you saw Jerry was wait, I was printing parts for Leia. She was making molds for wings.
Wings, like that character
Wings.
from Californication. Sorry, it's been a long time since I saw Californication. I don't know why I thought of that.
Yeah, I
There
don't
he is.
know.
How's your mic working? Not so good.
Hang on.
There's
Oh.
a little bit.
Super good.
I hear some.
Is it? I think it's adjusting my volume. Are we good
There
now?
you are.
Mhm.
You're very
Yeah.
good. Very good, sir.
Yeah, there was something going on because like the music like just stopped for me for a little bit. And didn't come back. Now the music is actually not being all choppy. Look I got everything labeled.
Beautiful.
We'll
Congratulations.
make this
Good
we'll make
thinking.
hang on. We'll make this big
Nice
here.
label from
There we go.
your hand.
Yeah. Well, I ran out of the white, so I'd use a clear, but it's not super readable from far away, but I can like make out what they are, and that's all that matters. So the heater is just gonna get crimp ferrules on it, and then everything else is gonna get XH plugs on them. Which I gotta now dig out my XH crimps. Hopefully I have my good crimps in here. I have the ends here. I can't remember if I stole a set of the good crimps from the shop. The shop has the good crimps. I think I'm gonna have to use my single crimps because I don't think my double crimps are in here. Oh, I might have. Hang on, is this a set of double crimps?
Filament
This-
splicer. I have an idea about maybe I could make this thing into a bit of a filament splicer too.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
have
mean,
a
it's
different.
just
These
a-
aren't the ones we sell, but they'll work.
I mean, if you can imagine, if you've got, I mean, this silicone stuff is pretty cool. You know, you can kind of, you can have it in a pretty hot environment, and yet you can, you can melt stuff inside and have it conform to a shape. And then, so I'm thinking, maybe you do a little bit of filament splicing experimentation with this thing too, and make a little, quickie at-home filament splicer.
That'd be kind of
Uh,
cool.
Yeah, I just don't see any. Maybe I'm naive, but we'll see. I mean, I know there will be air bubbles and other things and issues with the filament that's produced by just squirting it back out and right out of the nozzle and into a
Are
form.
you saying you squirted it? Squirted it out
I'm
of the nozzle?
squirting into a mold
In your living
Um,
room?
in my living room.
In your living room. There was
yes.
a video, I think it was a print shoot repeat video, and he was just like, "What do you mean you've squirted it out of your nozzle?" It was hilarious. He's like, "Yes, I squirted it. I squirted it out."
Squirt. So I'm thinking of I got some ideas. I got some good ideas for this thing. You'll see. This is gonna work. We're gonna get rid of these.
So I'm gonna see articles talking about you and your fancy poop shoot in a couple weeks is what I'm hearing.
I think everyone should know. Just let's shout it from.
Can I go make a
mountaintops.
tweet from the company account and be like, "Ask Scott about his poop shoot."
Yeah. Ask me about my
No
splinter.
context,
No.
just that. There's just no other context. It's just going to be like, ask Scott about his poop shoot. That's
Or,
all
how
I'm going
about
to post.
Or my sphincter.
Your just his 3D sphincter.
My sphincter.
Oh no, I crimped this a little too hard.
I'm actually going to be turning to nature for inspiration, so that I can be one of those people. Be like,
Get you
this
a
product
fancy
turns to nature for, put it in the advertising campaign. He
The
turns to
design,
nature for
you got to be like the design is very human. Have you seen those where it's like the design is very human? It's like the
What is
creepiest
that
shit.
from?
You've never seen those? There's like videos and
weird.
shit where they're like, it's like these horrible like Chinese translated videos, and they're just like the design is very human, and it's like the most terrifying shit you've ever seen in your entire life.
Oh, I love
And
it.
they're like absolutely serious about it. There used to be a website I remember where they had like all like people would collect all the Chinese like translation errors, and I can't remember what it was, but this is like back in like the AOL days. I remember like because it was like
Yeah.
less common back then. But I
Yeah.
just remember going in there and like laughing at all the bad translations. I mean, it's like, we still see it. It's like Creality in their, I think they finally fixed it, but their boxes used to say instead of keep dry, it said afraid of wet.
Mm.
So their products were very afraid of wet. We literally have a T-shirt where I traced it out, and
That's hilarious.
it's on a shirt. And Naomi Wu thought it was hilarious.
It's water resistant.
Yeah, they were afraid of wet. So
That's funny.
yeah,
Afraid.
I got a kick out of that. Yeah, instead of keep dry, it's afraid of wet. My printer is afraid of wet. All right, I got to make sure I get my polarity right on my HE fan. Actually, that's getting crimp ferrules because that goes right to a terminal. Layer fan though, I need a 2-pin JST on.
I actually
And
do
my
know that's
positives on the left.
come to think of it.
What's that?
I actually do remember that site. That was called English.com.
Yeah, was it? Okay. Who
Uh,
was the person that coined the term Chinesium? Because I first heard it from. Do you remember AVE on YouTube, the Canadian guy that
Oh,
like
I'm not
does all
sure.
these weird videos? If you have not watched AVE, you should go watch him. He's hilarious. And he did like a teardown on a Dyson hairdryer.
It means love
like-
in Latin.
Like,
Um,
yeah, he's funny. If you haven't watched him and you want to find something to binge watch, like he just posts whatever. Like he's just this old Canadian dude,
nice.
like blue collar worker type guy. He I think he was an engineer for something. He knows a lot about plastics and other materials and stuff. So
Cool.
I don't know exactly what he does. All I know he's got he does like some homesteading and stuff like that.
Sounds like that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, he's got fake OSHA stickers that he sells in his Etsy shop. Like we have, if you walk into our shop, there's literally on the door to the print farm, it looks like an actual like warning label, and it says, "Don't stick your fingy where you wouldn't stick your dinky."
What?
You never noticed that it's on the print farm door, and it's got like pictures of gears and like a finger going into the gears.
Nope.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
they look like OSHA like warning stickers, but they're not once you actually look at them.
Right. They're ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
Nice.
So
Well,
hey, it gets the point across. And then on my laser, I got one of his. It says danger. Not only will this kill you, but it'll hurt the entire time while you're dying.
Oh yes, I've seen that saying before, and I know Adam Savage likes to repeat funny things like that.
Do you know? So I thought this was like a joke sign, but there's actually it's sold at like the places that sell like the work safety stuff. And it's like a sign that says, if you don't schedule maintenance, the machines will schedule it for you.
Literally.
And I want to get
Like
some
it.
of those and hang those up in my office in the shop.
you should.
Oh,
Steve Pool
here's
says I'm
some-
ICQ old. I remember ICQ. The thing that's talking about ICQ is remember your damn number. Like, who thought that was a great idea?
Hard to say.
Because I thought that was a horrible idea. But I remember. Do you remember using what was your I know you used IRC, Scott. What was your IRC client of choice?
Let's see. I've used a few over time. Let's see. Well, of course, there was some IRC client for the Mac for a long time ago. It's probably called Urkel. IRCLE. Urkel.
Yeah.
Did I do that? Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Urkel. Yes, you did. And that was all right. And then more recently, I think I even still have something. It's called Colloquium. Colloquy. Is that right? Colloquy. Colloquy. I don't know what it's supposed to mean. But it's spelled COLLQUY or something like that. And it means a conversation, a gathering for discussion, a colloquy. Okay, good to know.
Did you ever use Merck MIRC?
Colloquy, yeah, that's how it's pronounced. Merck?
Yeah, MIRC.
Oh, I never did.
That was. I mean, I think that was a Windows only client. That's what I used.
Yep, I did use ICQ for a little while, and I can't get back into it now. I lost my password number. And
Are they still around?
Yes, there is actually an ICQ client out there somewhere.
Wow.
Because I don't think
Like their
it's-
servers are up and stuff still.
Yeah, something is because it's able.
Do you know what I miss? I miss the days of. Do you remember do you ever use a program called Trillion?
Trillion? I don't think so.
It was called Trillion. What about Pigeon? Do you remember Pigeon? PIDGIN.
Never used that one either.
So Pigeon's an open source one. Trillion was a paid one, and it allowed you to connect to multiple chat networks at the same time through one client. So like for a while, Facebook worked with Trillion, and basically you could have AIM, you could have ICQ, you can even have IRC, all in the same client. It was nice. I missed that, and then Facebook changed something where they wouldn't let it in, and then AIM died off, and I think Trillion's still around, and they're just like a business, like an internal business type app now.
Mm-hmm.
For like chatting within an organization, which I'm surprised that they're still around because like there's so many competitors now in that space. Like we even use like Microsoft Teams for our internal comms.
Yeah.
And then you got Slack and all these other ones.
Crucial
That
uses
popped up.
Slack and.
I just
and
signed up for a
Discord.
Slack account today because there's a makerspace in Valpo, and that's what they use is Slack. So I was like, well, I guess I'll make a Slack account.
Yep. But yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, I've kind of gone away from Slack, and because I switched to Discord, and I'm kind of like, well, Discord is Slack, is mostly Slack.
Yeah, I noticed
so-
that because I'd never used Slack, and I was like, this looks a lot like Discord.
Yeah, Discord came along as kind of the gamers version of Slack, but it's also
Is it?
built
Okay.
on Electron, so it's similar in its architecture to GitHub
Like the
Desktop
feel?
or
Yeah,
VS
it's like,
Code or whatever.
Do you ever mess with Matrix? That's like an open source encrypted type of like Discord alternative, I would coin it as.
No,
Mess-
never did.
Yeah, look at Matrix. It's part of the Fediverse. I know you're familiar with the Fediverse because I know you mess with Mastodon.
Yeah, I'm on Fostodon, folks.
Yeah, so
I don't spend
um,
any time on Twitter anymore. I mean X or whatever it is now.
whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so it's part of the Fediverse. It's called Matrix, so check that out. You can run it in Docker. There's public servers, but they're
Nice.
heavy on the privacy and encryption stuff. There's even actually, if you guys run Home Assistant, like I have Home Assistant, they actually have an add-on so you can host your own Matrix server really easily. The problem I had with that stuff is like getting people on it. Like the nice thing about Discord is like there's so many people on it, right? But it's still, a central thing controlled by one big evil corporation. Like, I wish we got back to more distributed and federated type stuff instead of like, single one person controlling everything type of setups,
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I'm going to be putting out a browser plugin very soon, which when you're on X, Twitter, whatever, it changes your blue check mark, any blue check mark on the screen into a green $sign. So, because that's
funny.
And
That's
that way
funny.
you can see who's paid $8.
Is
That's
it
all means,
$8?
actually.
It
Yeah.
is.
I pay $8
Wait.
to Fostodon, but that's because they actually deserve it.
Yeah.
It's 14 for Facebook.
What?
Or is it
Wait,
14 now?
Facebook is charging now too?
Yep,
Yeah, it's-
$14.99.
Is that for
God.
Facebook Pro?
That's
for
for that blue
verification?
check mark.
What? They decided to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it means
Hey,
nothing.
they said Twitter's doing it.
you're Meta
Well, I
verified.
gotta put that in my plugin now.
Meta verified. Wow.
How
That's-
fancy.
I am
I mean,
meta verified.
Did you set up your what's it called, Threads account yet?
TH3D has one. We don't post anything on it. I just have it there to hold the name.
Yeah, the one issue with Threads is I can only access it on my mobile devices. So
Yeah, that's the reason I'm not doing anything with it, because like I don't want to what is it with like these young kids these days and not doing shit on computers? Like they're all on their phones and shit. Chris is glaring at me because she knows that she does a lot of stuff on her phone. Like I have met people that are like
these
in their
days-
20s. I've met people that are in their 20s that don't even own a damn computer, like even a laptop. I was like, what do you do? I use my phone. Like, do you not do any actual work? Like what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, I mean, it's a form of literacy that seems like it's kind of be necessary in the future. At least on some level.
You just
And,
can't do everything on a tablet or a phone. Like it's not the same. You don't have the same horsepower. You don't have the same like just usability wise. It's just horrible compared
Well,
to like.
I mean, everything is going to be a little computer in the future, so it's not like the phone is just the first example, and eventually you'll just have everything will be inside your earbuds or in your glasses or whatever, and that's it. You don't have to maybe wired down to your pocket, and you won't have to do as much of this weird interfacing as we do now. But it will take a while, 50 to 200 years or so. But we'll develop some interesting new ways of doing things. Like I was thinking about the Vision Pro, right? That Apple's making, very expensive thing. It may not be.
I was shocked at how expensive it was. I mean, we know Apple's
Yeah.
expensive, but holy shit!
Yeah, they'll have a half price version, which will still be expensive at some point. But
then they can
Yeah.
go, well, hey, look, it's not as expensive as this one.
right. And well, the thing is, it does cost that much to build. I mean, it's not like they're marking it up by 200% or anything. It costs a lot to build, and they did a lot of research to build it. So they kind of deserve their initial windfall. But yeah, it's not like a Kickstarter where, the first round it gets a discount, unfortunately. But
No.
one thing I can see about it is that its main appeal is not to the mainstream, but to people who are disabled or otherwise in situations where they cannot use a a typical computer interface, a keyboard and mouse and all that. And,
I mean, in that case, they should probably make it cheaper so people can afford
know,
it.
well, in those cases, you'll be able to, if there are, if it turns out to be, there'll be universities that determine that it's good for that, and then there'll be grants that are associated with that. And then people who
Yeah.
have disabilities will be able to get those grants and utilize it, but it'll be a while before those tests are available. Before it really becomes fully mature for, the disabled
The
and
end
for kids.
users and stuff, yeah.
And so, yeah, but it's for that, it's kind of an interesting new alternative. I find that to be very interesting. And it may even be an awesome way for autistic people to find a way into the real world, or as it were, ways through, or who knows, there may be other therapies and mitigations involved, because maybe all we need is a good filter on our senses sometimes.
Yeah, I feel that. There's certain
Or-
times when I'm out doing stuff and I'm just like, nope, I'm good. I'm at my point. I want to.
Yeah, I gotta turn on those
I'm
alpha
done.
waves now.
Like, okay, we're good. I've had enough people. Like, yeah. I'm pretty sure there's. I don't know if ADHD is considered on the spectrum, but I definitely have some tendencies that lend to that.
Tendons.
I also really like trains, so
Yes, he does. He's obsessed.
I do like trains. Trains are awesome.
Choo choo.
Oh, the ending of North by Northwest gets me every time.
I did not get that reference.
Well, you have to see the movie. It's a Hitchcock movie. Come on, you'll love it. You'll enjoy it.
I've heard of
It's
it.
really-
I've heard of it.
it's really funny.
I'll probably have it.
It's actually it's kind of a comedy.
Is that the? That's not. I'm thinking of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Is that the one where it's like the kids like, have you ever been in a ever been in a cockpit before?
That's
Is
Airplane.
that, or am I thinking? Is that Airplane? I'm thinking of that. Okay, never mind.
North by Northwest is directed by Alfred Hitchcock. You see, who, although he did direct some comedies, they're more comedy of situation rather than broad or
Gotcha.
airplane comedy. It's not exactly the Farrelly brothers, but he could have been. But yeah, I very much enjoy Airplane. I'd like to try and watch it every so often. It made me laugh more than any other movie up to that time. But then I saw some Monty Python, and that beat it.
I love Monty Python. I gotta watch The Holy Grail again. That's like, it's like
my
the
God.
more popular one, but I love that.
Yep, that's the one I was thinking of. The Black Knight scene.
My noble, yeah,
threw me on the floor.
no, I love the noble, him and his noble steed. He's like, you're just banging two coconuts together.
Exactly.
Never seen that
Who's the
movie.
other one?
And then the Frenchman that was mocking them. I fought in your general
yes.
direction.
Your English types.
I fought in your general direction.
Weapons of other people's bottoms. Your father, your mother was a hamster.
And your father smelled the elderberries. Like, what kind of insult is that?
Right.
Your father smelled the elderberries. Like, what do elderberries smell like? Do they smell bad? Like,
I'm assuming it means that they drink a lot of gin. Don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Elderberry wine? Is that what's going on there?
I have no clue. Your guess is as good as mine. All right,
Yeah,
Look at-
something was
look at-
lost
we're
in
getting-
translation, obviously.
we're getting connections here.
Oh
Look at
my
that.
goodness, we're almost there. It's just too bad we can't
We
throw
are.
all the latest, greatest on there and have the LEDs working and the NeoPixels. There may
No,
be a
we
way
can.
to.
We can. This is my board. This isn't the Soval.
Oh, that's your board, of course. You win.
Yes. You think I'm going through all this work to put a Soval board in here?
Wait a minute. Is this all for the RGB? Is that it? You just need your RGB. on
I
the
do
board?
actually have an RGB set that's going to go on here, but we're going to do that
Oh
when
my
we do
God.
the final wrap up.
I see.
That is definitely something that's going on here, though. I have a kit sitting off to the side here. A layer fan and E-temp. Just goes down here. Just gonna make sure everything's labeled. I am gonna power it up and see, make sure everything functions though. This should be heater. Yep, this is the 18 gauge, so heater lines go here.
Look at you being
think
such a
I don't know if
pro.
this has like actual firmware on it or if this is. I think this was a testing board. So it probably has firmware on it that'll like move things, and this was one that was in my drawer, and I grabbed this because I didn't feel like going out to the shop to grab another one.
I got a spare Easy ABL Easy Board Lite with a kind of a screwy USB connection, but otherwise it's good.
Oh, is that one of those the prototype ones from forever ago? I mean,
Yep,
if you want another V2, if you want a V2 to play with, just let me know. I'll send you one.
Oh, I got one of those too. Of course, it's on my venerable CR10S,
Oh, you're actually
Along with
using it. Wow.
and I'm using a
I just
Raspberry
realized
Pi
I
on
need
there.
I need these both going into crimp ferrules together, not separate.
Yeah, I did a pretty I got a pretty good decent conversion on this here.
Yeah.
I put it on, squash ball feet and all that.
Ooh,
got rid of
fancy.
that outer box. Actually, I might
I
end up
hate-
using that outer box.
I'm
for
so
most-
glad the industry got away from those damn boxes.
Yeah, that was a strange
Like,
choice in the beginning.
I know, it was like, I guess, and I was like, okay, I guess it's not that bad, but then like the more you work on it, like you're like, this is horrible. And then you move the printer, it's like you gotta move the box with the printer, and it's like this umbilical cord. It's like, okay, I'm over this. Like
Yeah, strange use of
Doug, Mr.
aviator
Waffle in
cables
chat.
and stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Waffle in chat can relate to getting rid of the control boxes. He actually has a control box delete linear rail thing for the CR10 that he designed on Thingiverse. Or maybe it's on
Nice.
his, I think he moved to Cults. I can't remember. Maybe it is still on Thingiverse. I don't know, but he has one. And it's just funny because we would have people like be like, I'm doing this conversion. They send me the link and it's like, oh, that's my brother. He designed that.
Yeah. I don't know why they used aviator plugs either. Maybe they had a surplus from World War II. Or something.
Those things sucked. I hated them. Oh my god. Like, and like, why would you not just use crimp connectors? Like, somebody sat there soldering those damn things. That's the wild part. Like,
Wow, yeah.
oh wait, cults.
They
Wait,
probably didn't. They
no,
probably just
cults
had a bath of
just
solder
yeeted
and
my
it was
thingy stuff. What was
I
that?
think those wires were actually dipped in solder. Like they had they just had the the solder bath going, and they just stick the wires into the little waterfall of solder as they're going by. Because there was definitely it didn't look like a clean, careful soldering job on those wires.
Oh
either.
dear God, no, they were horrible, and they would have we would have people have connection issues all the time with them. They're like, I'm getting thermal runaway. It's like, yeah, that's because your firmware actually has it now.
Yay!
Fix your shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
you
do you
just
remember? I
tune
mean,
it.
like, we're finally in the days where we actually have thermal runaway on 99% of the machines that are coming out now. Like, I
Mhm.
remember when that was the big thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, the people like doing firmware like us and stuff like was even more important back then because people's printers were catching on fire. And I was putting out firmware to try to make it easy for people who are new to upgrade, so their printers wouldn't catch on fire and burn their houses down.
Right.
That was one of my big motivations because I also didn't want my house burning down. All right,
Totally.
let's see. Let's see what works and what doesn't work. All right. Oh, I think I connected my my LCD connector backward. Just a moment.
Good job.
This is EXP1. I gotta trace that. It goes there, there. That's one. Oh, I gotta flip them.
Did you see the video of the? I don't know which kind of printer it was. It might have been a Stovall. But and I'm trying to find the video author so I can, because I can't remember his name.
There we go.
Off the top of my head. But they had a thermal issue where the MOSFET got stuck on,
Hmm.
and it just kept heating, and it was never getting caught.
Oh, that's lovely.
And, until it finally melted the aluminum block of the hot end.
Holy shit, that's impressive.
Yep, it got up to that temperature. They totally can. Oh, I see. There's Sam Prentice got his A1.
Okay,
Damn
hey,
it,
look at.
there's also
Oh, you can't see
so
it.
much A1.
My X is moving.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to that video so you can check it out because you got to see it. Just see it, if nothing else. But it definitely made me.
Oh yeah, I forgot the fan in the bottom of this is going out, so I forgot to
Oh.
change that. But hey, look at the bed's moving.
Hey, something's happening.
Yeah, I definitely got to update the firm, but I mean, basic checks. So the motors are moving. My E-temp is reading, so I'm gonna preheat this. See if both my bed and my hot end heat up. Let's see. Yep, we got hot end climbing, beds climbing. Cool. Nice. So yeah, I'll definitely have to do a firmware update on here. I gotta replace this fan on the bottom. Alright, well. Sweet. Gotta do a firmware update, and I gotta change this fan out, which I literally, we luckily sell the 4020 blower fans that these use. And all I gotta do is unplug it. And then swap it out.
Nathan Builds Robots? Is that who I'm thinking of? Yeah, it was Nathan Build Robots. I'll look at his channel. Let's see. Nathan Builds Robots. I can't wait to see him actually build some robots.
Good night, dog.
Night, Doug. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up in a little bit, anyways. But hey, look, we got all the wiring done. All I gotta do is the firmware. But look at that, it's a direct swap. Oh god, I dropped my screw. Direct swap from R fan or stock fan to R fan. And this should hopefully last a lot longer. Oh no, I caught my LCD wire under the screw head. There we go. Mingda Magician. I had a Mingda Magician I got from like an Amazon return, and it was like brand new, so I sold it to a buddy of mine for $100. And he put it together, and he really likes it. I heard those were pretty decent machines. Double check the clarity on my 2-pin. Yep, direct swap. All right, there we go. So
here it is.
Swap the cable out. Here we go.
It was a Mingda Magician X1.
Yeah, they did.
You'll love this.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff with Mingda.
You'll love this, man. Wait till you see it. I'll send you the link. Here we are. I'm not putting that SI on there. You can.
You should be able to share on your screen or send in chat. Oh, there you go. Hang on. This one. Let me pull this up. I hate how I can't like. I can't copy. I can't copy. Can you paste in the private? Oh, there we go. Private chat. All right, let's see. All right, hang on. I'm gonna share this thing and present.
Present it.
Share
Wait till you see
screen.
this thing. Check it out, folks. This is why and I want to make sure. And I was like obsessed. I was like, oh man, I got to go in tomorrow and like make sure absolutely this cannot happen. Got to do some tests. Run the thing. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That's
It's going to fall out. It's melting the aluminum. Now I'm going to take an Allen wrench and just kind of poke it and see what happens. Oh my gosh,
Holy
that's
shit.
liquid. That's molten aluminum there.
Holy
cow.
shit.
If this was printing, it would be sweeping this molten pile of aluminum back and forth and possibly dropping it on some stuff. So this is incredibly dangerous. I don't know if I would buy one of these Mingda Magician X2s because this is a little bit problematic.
A little bit?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Holy shit.
Man. Now that molten pile of aluminum has fallen onto this little thing, And
is that a plastic
yeah, this is
housing
like
too? Yeah, it is. That would
worst
definitely
case
cause
scenario. So this is another reason why you shouldn't leave your 3D printer running unattended. And remember, everyone, this printer has a properly implemented thermal runaway protection.
How does this have? Oh, you know what? It must have been it was a MOSFET failure, wasn't it?
That's what we're thinking.
So here's the thing.
The thing is, if the MOSFET fails, it should still get caught. It should still see the temperatures rising.
Yeah, but it can't. Yeah, but it can't trigger anything. So that's like why on here, so like, yeah. Well, you can't. It can alarm, but it can't shut it off if the MOSFET's stuck in the on position. That's why like
they fail on.
Yeah, so that's why I have like on our printers we have our own Tasmota plugs, Wi-Fi plugs. So if the printer goes offline or it triggers a runaway, it kills the AC power.
That's good.
So all of our printers now have this. So if it's like I gotta check my settings here, but I'm pretty sure this is my personal printer. I gotta double check here. So yeah, disconnect event monitoring, error event monitoring. So I have this set up here, off on disconnect, off on error. So I'm turning the printer on, you'll see it connect. Okay, so I'm connected, the printer's on, right? So you can see the printer's on there. See the LCD?
Sure can.
I'm gonna go unplug the USB cable. So imagine my board locked up and it lost communication.
Right. Boom. That was quick.
Yeah, you like that? So, yeah, if he had something like this set up, if he ran a Wi-Fi plug with Octoprint, you could literally prevent a fire with it.
Wow.
Yeah, look, it's rained. Yep, I run Octoprint with EasyPlug. Yep, we run the same shit that we sell our customers, because like, and most of the stuff we come up with is stuff that we came up with for ourselves, and then if we think it's useful enough, we'll turn it into products. But yeah, so I don't worry about it because I know the plugs will take care of it, and they have in a couple of cases. Like I had a bed wire, and it wasn't like it would cause a fire problem, but I had a bed wire where it broke internally. And it would like intermittently stop heating, and or not a bed wire, it was a thermistor wire, so it would lose signal. And sure as shit, I had a push notification to my phone, and it's like, oh, there was a runaway event on this printer, and it's been shut off. And I went and checked it and found the issue, and like nothing happened. It just shut it off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, there's multiple benefits of running the network controllers with the printers, not just convenience, but like safety wise too. Like there are benefits to it.
Well, I totally appreciate Nathan's attitude on that situation, and not being like, everything's broken, everyone sucks, everything is hell, we're all doomed.
I mean, any Wi-Fi plug is better. Any Wi-Fi plug that can work like this is going to be better, regardless of the brand. I don't care what brand you guys use. If you have something, it's another layer of protection. Like that's the thing. It's another layer of protection that I think is helpful.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can make no assumptions about whether the fact it's a Mingda problem or just a general, parts problem.
That's just a general hardware problem.
Yeah.
Like any of the boards, like even like our boards, if the MOSFET fails in on position, thermal runaway is not going to do anything for it.
Is there any way to mitigate that on the board itself? Like if you notice that a MOSFET is stuck on,
not without additional hardware, you'd have to have you'd almost have to have, and there was, well, either a MOSFET or a relay, basically that would kick on, and then be able to be shut off.
Yeah.
Like you can do it, but you're adding a lot of cost to the board though.
No doubt.
To do that.
Yeah, it's a big hassle.
And like honestly, it would. You like I said, you can do it. You just got to add extra hardware onto the board. So you need like a power supply control. But the nice thing with the plugs are, it cuts. It's literally like the Wi-Fi plugs is the same as you going up to the printer and pulling the cord out of the wall. That's essentially what it's doing. So except it's automated. So anyways, I'm gonna show the end result of the upgrades here.
There we go.
Here.
Looking good. There you go. A little fuzzy.
Hang on, I'm trying to. Hang on. Where's the solo button? There we go. Solo layout. So, there we go.
Ooh.
Everything's all labeled in here. Look at that, all the labels here. I'm gonna zip tie all these and make them all nice. But then basically all I do at this point is just update the firmware to tell the printer or tell the board what it's controlling now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so look at that. All my crimps worked on the first try. Look at that. That's
amazing.
I know, right? That never happens.
You have to teach me some good crimp alignment skills because I.
I lied. I gotta put the
line up.
I gotta put the LEDs on still. That's the last thing.
Yeah.
That's the last piece of hardware. I gotta put the LEDs on. So.
Right on.
But
like how much insulation do you strip off the end of your wires before you crimp them?
I'm gonna say like 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters.
Yeah, just a tiny amount, huh?
So.
Yeah, because otherwise it makes a big mess.
I mean, a thermal. Kyle Fegley's asking about a thermal fuse. That wouldn't help in this case. You could do it on a bed, but I mean, then you're running your main power. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but you're adding a lot of complexity depending on how you do it. You're adding more parts. Yeah, like PTC heaters. I don't think anybody's using PTC heaters.
Yeah.
Again, cost.
Yeah. So
it all comes down to cost.
So my question is then, if you've got, with all your safety stuff, if you had a MOSFET fail in the on position, I mean, you'd kind of still be SOL, right?
With all the thermal stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, assuming that the board isn't, is actually let's say that it's not running a print job. So there is no possibility for it to be looking for a thermal runaway.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, it would hit max temp. It would trigger a max temp error at a certain point.
Yeah,
so,
I think what I'm going to have to do is I just realizing that what he said it's a properly implemented thermal runaway, but I think we need another layer because we need to be monitoring it all the time and not just when we expect the temperature to be on or whatever.
I mean, yeah. Well, here's the thing. You already have that with the max temp. You have that with max temp already.
No, we don't.
Because it'll trigger. It'll trigger an area.
No,
what?
It won't.
When it's not printing?
Well, I'm talking about a MOSFET that's failed on.
Well, hear me out.
You have a working thermistor.
Right. What I'm saying is what's it called? The max temp will trigger whether it's printing or not. I've had it trigger accidentally because.
But that's because max temp is just looking at whether the thermistor is returning garbage or meaningful. If it basically looks at the thermistor result and it says this is returning something which it clearly indicates that it's disconnected or shorted, and that's a max temp or a min temp, and everything else it ignores. It doesn't care. It doesn't care what the temperature is unless it's outside of the legal range.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, so let's say I turn my printer on. I turn my power switch on. I'm not running a print job, and the MOSFET for my hot end's locked on. Once it hits that max temp, regardless if I'm printing or not,
that's not what max temp is. That's that's thermal runaway. That's not max temp. Max temp is a case where there's a short in so you're getting 100 zero resistance. Or maybe it's the other way around.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is the thermistor is going to get a certain point hot enough where it's going to read bad and it's going to trigger. Correct?
Maybe.
Do we want to test it really quick right now? I got a lighter and a thermistor here. Do we want to test it real quick?
Sure. I mean, maybe. I'd be curious to see. I mean, I should know this already, right?
No, because I'm pretty sure it's going to trigger. I'm like 99% sure that's going to trigger. So here, really simple. So I'll plug this into this board, and this will work just as it sits right now. And then I'm going to I'm going to grab actually, I could probably just put my soldering iron on it, to be honest. That'll get hot enough.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you only have to get it up to, if it's using thermistor 1, then you have to get above 310 degrees.
Yep.
Celsius.
Okay. Well, then we're going to use the soldering iron here.
Or 305.
Right. Yeah, it'll get up to there. That's what I'm saying. At a certain point, it's going to get hot enough where it's triggering that. Because I've accidentally triggered that before by messing with wires, and the resistances got all fucky. Hang on.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that there is a condition, but that's it's funny because like that's not always the normal condition. Most of the time it's because of a short or a break or a broken wire. So the fact that it's actually due to a real temperature reading would be really weird.
Okay,
but
so
let's say you see
the thermistor there, right?
Right.
So here you go. So I'm gonna touch this just so you know that it's that one. So you should see. There you go. See, it's going up in temp.
Oh, you're so warm.
I am. All right. So I'm gonna put this on my soldering iron's off right now, but I'm gonna touch this to my soldering iron here.
You just hold it there with your thumb.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. All right, so I'm going to turn this on, okay? And this heats up real quick, so I'm going to turn it on.
No doubt.
And we're at 3842. We're already at 100 on the thermistor in there. There we go. See how quick it's climbing?
Yep. It's reading correctly. Well, the thing is, say you've got a thermocouple on your printer that can read temperatures up to 1,000 degrees. Then it's not going to have a max temp when your MOSFET fails on. It's just going to go to 1,000 degrees.
Okay, so my iron's set at 350.
Yeah, it'll get when it gets to 305 or so. It'll.
I gotta like hold this better. Who just joined?
Oh,
Tor is awake.
Hello, Tor.
Hang on, I gotta put this on here better.
How's it going?
We are testing max temp. We're testing max temp on a thermistor without telling the printer to heat, and I'm failing at holding this on here.
You need to hold it there with a get a friend to hold it there for you. I think it's just dissipating the heat too quickly. You're trying to heat a little glass bead. That's not going to work.
Hang on.
Hold it there with a pair of pliers or something.
Well, I don't want to crush it either. Hang on, I have.
Just get don't you have a variable?
I have thermal. I'm gonna tie it to this with the thermal wick, or my solder wick.
Put it on your silicone pad.
Oh, that's a good. Actually, that's a good idea. I have a silicone pad right here attached to the iron here for changing out the tips while it's hot.
The word of the day is silicone.
No thermal mass.
Say the word of the day. A little duck will drop it off the ceiling and give you $100.
All right, hang on. Here we go. Let's put this here. I'm gonna take the soldering iron.
There we go. Cool. I was just thinking of blazing. Oh wait, there's 150, 160. It's going.
Is this thermistor? Maybe this is.
I don't think it's gonna trigger.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that maybe this thermistor is not what I think it is because this was just a random one in my bin of shit down there.
It's gonna be 100. It's gonna be a Creality one.
Oh, you know what? Hang on.
It's either 1 or 5. It's either ID number 1 or ID number 5.
Why is this not heating it up though? That's what I don't get.
No thermal mass. No thermal mass on it.
Yeah. You could heat up a piece of metal next to it and just put a piece of metal on top of it and heat the metal. Wait a minute.
You have
soldering iron is a piece of metal.
And you have a variable power supply. It's like
it needs to have enough mass to hold the heat without it being lost. It can only hold a certain amount for it in that glass bead, unfortunately.
I know you have a V6 block somewhere near you.
I do have a V6 block. Hang on, I'm pushing down into it a little bit. God, I think this thermistor. I think this thermistor is not reading correctly, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Or this might not, because I've touched soldering irons to glass bead thermistors before. Hang on, let me grab another one. This is probably some weird one because it's also got black wires on it. This might, you know what? This might be a fucking Wanhao one, which is a weird like 10K one. Hang on. I should have grabbed. Here we go. These are definitely 100Ks because these are the ones we sell. Or maybe I'm wrong. We're about to find out.
Hi, Jonathan. Welcome in.
Number 11, I think.
These should be number 1. That's what these are, which is what the firmware is set up for right now.
Let's see, so Thermistor 11 would have thrown all kinds of weird results compared to.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm plugging it in right now. I'm really curious now. I'm committed.
Oh yeah, Thermistor 11 is like 1/3 of the scale or something. So,
okay, so that's probably. I was like, there's no way this is, because I have tested. I've literally had glass thermistors capped on taped to heaters before, and
yeah. If you would return a result around 100, you should get a result, yeah, much closer.
Oh, hang on, my camera just decided to exit the chat. Hang on.
Thermistor 1. So that's good to know, yeah. But the problem will be, of course, that, you know, that's the thing. These machines are kind of dangerous.
Just a wee bit.
It's like having a laser cutter in your house. You know, you can't just walk away while it's doing its thing. You have to keep a really close eye on that thing.
Hang on, my cameras are being stupid right now.
Literally.
Okay, that's my one. That's my other. Okay, hang on. We're back. Hang on. Present extra camera.
You're frozen.
Cam link.
Hello, Mr. Barnes.
F
Good
in
to
the
have
chat.
you here. Good to have you here.
How's everyone doing this evening?
I'm resetting up my V0 because my 5-volt power supply died.
Well, that's not good.
Nope. I reflashed the image because I thought the image died.
Okay, we're just gonna have to run this one camera because apparently it's tired of me streaming tonight.
I mean, we have been streaming almost 3.5 hours.
Okay, so we got a new thermistor here. I'll just touch this so you guys know that this is the one we're connected to. There you go. See the temp's going up. All right, let's try this now.
There we go. Finally, we'll get a proper reading on this thing. That's better. Maybe.
Well, we're about to find out.
It sure is taking its time going up in temp, though.
It's heating a little quicker.
I mean, I don't quite.
Is it really because of the thermal? Is it really because of the thermal mass? Is that it?
Yeah, I think it is.
What the shit?
It just can't. It can't hold more heat than that. That's
Hang
it.
on. Let me dig through my. I got heater blocks here. Hang on.
That's also it's averaging the temperature between your silicone mat and your.
Well, here we're gonna.
Yeah,
see if we can
actually,
melt
the
this
mat
thing.
is probably sucking the heat away.
Well,
Yeah,
here
no doubt.
we're gonna put this like 100-watt soldering iron through the heater. Through the
Good luck
heater
with
here.
that, too.
I'm gonna watch that video live.
Literally.
Look at that. The diameter fits perfectly.
Oh my god! You can even
That's
tighten it.
dangerous.
That's hilarious. There you go. Now we know where they got the diameter from. Haha.
Well, it's not
just
quite
using-
perfect, but you know what? It'll work. Here, we're turning the iron on. It's gonna go to 350.
Right. Sure it is.
Yeah, it's just cut off the tip, bang it in a little. That's why you have that cone.
Well,
Pull
the block
leads
is
out,
the
and you
block
got
is
a
heating.
pothead.
Yeah.
The block is heating up.
Whoa.
Hang on. Where's
Oh,
the
isn't
Where's I should have squeezed. Hang on. I'm gonna squeeze this with my pliers to get it to crimp down on the
Yeah.
soldering iron a little more.
Crimp that thing. Crimp it away. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna double check that this firmware is actually set up for the #1 thermistor.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, that
showing
would be good too.
it's showing the 100K. We're good.
Okay, I figured it was a 1. Yeah, they usually are. Almost always.
Oh no, I didn't produce the slicer.
Come on, heat up, block.
Fun with soldering irons.
Oh, it's really not gonna like me when I slice this.
It's
Of course,
going.
You could just send an M42 command to the printer to force the MOSFET on.
Yeah.
I think it won't let you do that though. Well, it actually will. If you send this ignore dash I with the I parameter, it'll ignore the safety parameters and let you set the pin to whatever you want. So you could conceivably turn it on at 100% if you wanted to.
Yeah, see, this is heating up a lot better.
I'm
But I was
telling.
saying just heat it with a 50-watt core and
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, torch.
I'm telling. Well, I just
Overvoltage.
told the iron to go to 450. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the more heat that's on the iron, the more it'll heat the nearby
Yeah.
contacting mass, you would think. Yeah, it's going a bit faster now.
There it goes.
Hey, okay, good, yeah. Let's get up there. Come on, folks. So yeah, I mean, I presume as soon as it gets outside of the range of the table, it'll be like, sorry, I don't know what your temperature is, and therefore
It should freak out.
get out of here. Yes, it definitely should. Yeah, I'm almost certain that you're right about. I mean, you're right about that part. I know that when you turn the machine, this was something that was like discussed like very early on in my tenure. Was how to deal with thermal
Okay,
runaway.
we're at 260. We're at 264.
Yep.
265.
15 seconds to go before it explodes.
277, 278, 279, 280.
Uh-oh. Might be another 15. All right. Half a degree a second. Man, take your time. Why don't you?
Oh, there goes.
Boom.
Bam.
There you go.
Max temp.
Okay, good.
So,
Yes, I
good
figured
thing.
that was right. Okay, good.
Well, now
So,
my soldering
yeah.
iron's stuck in here.
Yep.
oh, that looked like it. Did you bend it around it?
It did a little bit.
Yeah, I bent it around. It'll come out of here.
It was sliding around while you were doing
As
that.
it won't.
No, it will.
Let it cool and it'll all come apart even more easily.
There it goes.
Or will it?
No Hako irons were harmed in the making of this. This block's a little fucked up, but whatever. It's the old style block. It can go
All
in
right,
the
good to know. Now try that with the Mingdai M1 or whatever it was.
So that's what I'm saying. If the MOSFET got stuck on, it'll
Yeah.
trigger a max temp.
Yeah, it definitely should.
But
Even though we're not
So-
printing. That was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, and but of course at that point, like even if you can't cut the power, you can't turn off the MOSFET, and therefore no amount of resetting the board or going into thermal runaway or
No, that's
stuff.
what I'm saying. That's why I run the plugs on the printers is so I don't have to worry about that. And then there's
Yeah, I
also,
never-
well, what if the plug stops responding? I mean, let's have a plug for the plug, so we have like multiple redundancies, So if the one plug stops responding, it kills the other plug. But if the plug that's
Yeah, I
before
think-
the other plug fails, like we got to have all these redundancies, and that's
Yeah,
when
I'm
things
gonna
get
have to-
expensive.
I'm gonna have to watch Nathan's full video to see the context for when that happened and what was going on.
I mean, in
Really
my
is-
general experience, I've had MOSFETs fail on more than fail off.
Yeah,
So,
that sucks.
but anyway, I know Tor just got here, but we were wrapping up.
oh, that's fine. I'm still.
I mean,
pretty bad. I
I'll
need to
show
go
you
back.
here really quick, actually, because you didn't see it. Look at all the wiring done.
I
Wow.
didn't see it. It does look good.
There we go. We got things all crimped on. We got everything terminated. Got crimp ferrules, and it all worked on the first try.
Wow.
I just need to set up the firmware for it. Yeah.
Yep, that's all I have left is just firmware. I replaced
Tor.
the fan.
Huh?
So
Are you wearing a
Yeah.
Chinesium shirt?
I am.
We were
we have
talking about that
13
earlier.
people watching on YouTube. Oh, the
Yeah.
I put
Yeah,
the
see?
Chinesium shirt. Hang on. I got a full screen of. Hang on. Any parts whose properties would normally fail to meet normal QC standards typically found on Chinese mirrors. I bought this Chinesium 3D printer from China, and the fans are already dying. Not even a month later.
Yeah.
That is an old ass shirt.
Wow, it is. Classic.
Well, I appreciate everybody
everything
that's
is
stopped
Chinese,
by.
so enjoy.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
This has been a fun
Hopefully I'll
stream.
be awake for the next one.
I say maybe like if we can do like a daytime ish one, like a regular stream where we have like what's it called, like kind of a more round table planned out thing, and this will be kind of our casual hangout one where we just kind of shoot the shit and do whatever we want. That's kind of my goal here. This is fun too. Streamers have been working pretty good. I've been pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the look and feel and all that too. It's kind of seems like it's cool to work with.
Yeah,
certainly
it's a lot easier, and we're only using like 9 megabits with her and I both streaming out 1080p, which is not bad.
Yeah,
So
definitely
yeah,
a lot better than you setting up 7 different streaming platforms.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody.
Have a good one.
Tor, Krista, Scott, stick it by in the back. Once we go offline, we go into like a back room so we can say good night and stuff. And anyways, everybody watching, thanks for stopping by. As always, happy printing. Bye bye now.
Bye, guys.
And I'm out.